To everyone saying I was late, that is fake news. That is a lie. I was on time. I always press start at the right time, okay? Every time, without fail, I always press start at the right time. However, YouTube has a really big delay between pressing start on OBS and then I have to press go live on YouTube, okay? So it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyway, that being said, I'm switching the music to something that's more on brand, which is the My Hero Academia Lo-Fi. Okay, anyway, now that I've exonerated myself of being late, even though I wasn't late, we're gonna adjust the camera just a little bit. Hello! Now that I've exonerated myself, hello! Eli, Golden, and Max, I see you here. Max is always busting my chops, you know, always keeping me humble, I guess you could say. I just realized I did not do a proper, like, focus test before starting the stream. And I absolutely should have done that. However, I did not. So, hey, listen, I haven't streamed in like 3 weeks, so I'm a little rusty, but it's all good. So yeah, we're streaming tonight. This stream was supposed to be on Friday, and then I had to move it because I'm doing something else tomorrow. And then it was supposed to be on Saturday, but then I am doing something else on Saturday. So I was like, all right, well, I don't want to delay it all the way to next week. So we're doing it tonight. So that's cool. I'm very excited. As you can see, all the anime are down there. Very simple tier list. Just going through everything I've seen. There's a couple on here that I haven't finished, but I feel like I've watched enough to give it a, like, temporary rating, like interim rating until I actually finish it. But, so, the membership ring I had isn't there anymore. Well, so, according to my YouTube backend, you are not a member. So that's that, because I looked, I was like, dang. Max ain't a member anymore. Yeah, you're not on my member list according to YouTube. So that is tragic. But Jam's here. Bro, I haven't seen you in forever. What's poppin', homie? Dang. So, yeah, I also did not expect to do a stream this soon after Christmas. I thought it was going to be, like, next week. But then that video went out yesterday, and I was like, okay, well, this stream was kind of meant to be paired with that video. So that's also why the stream is so close. I'm going to do a bunch of... No, not a bunch. That's a lie. I'm going to do a couple streams next week, assuming everything goes according to plan. I want to do a... not a My Hero stream. What am I thinking of? What is the word I'm thinking of? New Year's. New Year's. That's the thing that's next week. That's right. I want to do a New Year's Eve stream. And then I think... Oh, Max from Ever Max. Welcome to Symbol of Peace. Thank you for joining the membership. I appreciate that. Am I podcasting next week? That's December. Hold on. I am. So I've actually started using my calendar a lot more so that I know what I'm doing, because I've, like, double booked myself a ton in the last couple weeks. So I'm trying to fix that. Can I put YouTube chat on stream? I can. Let's move YouTube chat over here, because I feel like you guys should be on stream. Whenever I'm doing YouTube, you guys should be on screen. Okay, we're going to move this over here. And then heck it, we're doing it live. I don't remember which one is width. Well, I know what width is. Okay, let me rephrase that. I know which one is width. I don't know which one I need to do. Okay, width needs to go up because it needs to be wider. Just put it on 400. And now, should I have done this before the stream started? Yes. Both things can be true, that I should have done this before I started. But it's fine. 400 by 300. I think. Should work. Yeah. I wish I could see it. Hold on. I'm going to have to like blow up my screen. So like, okay, that's fine. Shoot. Hold on. Don't worry, guys. Okay, while I'm doing this, how's everyone's Christmas? Because that was, in fact, yesterday. So, how was everyone's Christmas? Mine was pretty cool and good. It was very chill. A lot of stuff with family. That is what happened yesterday. So, that's about it, though. I think that's everything I've done. Yes, I did change the tiers. That's why the last one disappeared. Because I decided to change the tiers like a month after I made the thing. Because I couldn't, like, everything was fumbling and... Okay, stop. What you're doing. Please stop. Go. No. Stop! There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Listen, for a rush job, it's fine. Okay. And then stop. Properties. I want to make the height just a little more so it doesn't crop out that bottom part. Okay. And then I need to go here, interact, change this to live chat. Or I could be really cool. Watch this. We need less. Give me like 250. Oh, yo, that actually, did that work? Oh, give me a little more. Give me a little more. Give me like 265. Nope, my bad. 245. I went the wrong way. 245. Is that it? Almost. Almost. Give me 225. Oh, I think that's it. Okay. I think that's it. Give me 230. Just give me a little bit of... There we go. Okay. Now we have chat on screen. I should have done that before we started. And that's on me. But it's fine. Like, and in an ideal world, I would have done the frame and everything, but then I totally forgot that I like putting YouTube chat on stream. So, hello, I see TC and Maga Anime Girl are here. What's poppin'? So, wow. What a night. Am I missing anything? Jam's here. I saw Eli said this is his first stream, so that's pretty cool. Piercing Heaven, what's up? Dang, we got the whole squad here. I forgot how much I love streaming on YouTube. That's the thing. That's the thing about streaming on YouTube is I have a bigger audience on YouTube, so there's more people here. But then streaming on Twitch is like not everybody always migrates over to Twitch. Now, granted, it's great for keeping the games off the main channel and not messing that up. But I personally like the interface of streaming on Twitch more. I think YouTube's live stream system is clunky. My bitrate has to be in like the quintuple digits to do anything. Whereas on Twitch, like, it's very simple. You press go live or like start streaming and then it's done and you just go. And it's very simple. The chat is great. So I do like Twitch specifically for games though. So I do want to try to find a balance of doing streaming, because another reason I didn't like streaming on YouTube was because it was a hassle to change in OBS. But then I realized I just needed to make different profiles. So I have a Twitch profile that has like me signed in and stuff on Twitch and like immediately goes to that. And then same thing for YouTube. So I literally just switch back and forth based on where I'm streaming, which is great. Makes my life a lot easier. So, and I have been like taking all my Twitch VODs and putting them on the VODs channel. I haven't streamed on Twitch in like weeks. But it's fine. I'm going to stream on Twitch next week. I don't know what I'm going to do for New Year's Eve. I've been talking to Spectral because we stream a lot together. If you guys haven't, go to his channel and watch. We did a playthrough of Super Mario 3D World on Switch, which was insane. It's probably the funniest thing I've ever played on a stream. And we had a lot of fun with that. So you guys should go watch that. Go subscribe to him. He makes good content. But I think we were talking about doing a co-stream or something on Tuesday night and staying up until midnight for New Year's. So I'm trying to figure out how that's all going to work and what we're going to do, because it might be better for me to do it on YouTube because it's like a big event, and that's how you can make the justification of like, okay, we're playing games, doing all this stuff. So Golden, is that the link to Austin's thing? It is. Thank you for putting that in chat. Yeah, that's the thing we did. Not all of the parts are out on his channel yet. We did finish it last week. So not all the parts are out yet, but it is a good time. So go subscribe to him. Can we get him? How many subs is he at? Where he at? He's at 36 subs. Can we get him to 40 by the end of the night? Maybe even 50. I don't know. Maybe 50 seems like a lot. Can we get him to 40 subs by the end of the stream? Come on, guys. There's got to be enough of you here to get him to 40. It's literally 4 subs. Go get this man. Get him some subscribers on YouTube. And watch his content. It's good. So, what else? Is there anything else I need to go over before we get into the tier list? Can't watch on Twitch till I get my new phone. That sucks. That doesn't work. Dang. That's crazy. Elsa says Alia C tier. Well, okay. We'll just get into the tier list then. So, a little breakdown of the tier list. Here's how it's going to work tonight. As you can see, we have a couple more categories than normal. We have AOTY and SOTY, which is Anime of the Year and Season of the Year. Because, thank you for asking, Eli. I'm about to explain what SOTY is. SOTY is Season of the Year. Because I'm really sick and tired of when Crunchyroll does their like anime awards and like what won last year, Vinland Saga season 2. Like, I hate this. Like a sequel season took a spot in Anime of the Year from a new show that came out. So like, for example, here something like Oshinoko season 2 cannot go any higher than Season of the Year because it's not Anime of the Year. It's not a new anime that like started this year. So any sequel seasons are immediately disqualified on this tier list from Anime of the Year. Only new shows that came out this year are allowed to go in Anime of the Year. Now, only one show will end up in both of those categories. And S tier can be a mix. Like all the other tiers can be a mix. But only those two, Anime of the Year, Season of the Year, can be in that respective category. So there's that. Shadow Realm, obviously, as usual, like the worst show I've seen, or like bad things go down there. I think there's only one show on here that would end up in Shadow Realm. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I think we can just go ahead and jump right into it. So there are a couple on this list that did not make it into the video. One, because I included movies on here, and there's a couple movies in here that weren't in the video. But then there's also a couple anime that I've started and finished since scripting that video. Because, like, I want you guys to know, that video came out yesterday. I recorded that, like, Thanksgiving. So it's been in editing for almost a month. Because it's such a big video compared to what I normally do. So I get my editor, Alex, a ton of time to do that and like make it a good video, and he did. So I've watched a decent amount since then. So there's a couple shows in there that you know, oh, TC got an ad. That's crazy. I didn't even tell YouTube to run an ad. We're going to delay ads for 10 minutes. Okay. Because I don't want anybody getting caught in an ad as I'm trying to explain. Did you see the Fable or Go-Go Loser Ranger? Both are exclusive to Hulu. No. Because I avoid watching anime on anything other than Netflix and Crunchyroll unless I absolutely have to. Because I think every other platform, every other service to watch anime on is awful. It is just terrible. My watching experience is so bad. High Dive? No. I don't, dude, I have High Dive and I pay for it out of principle of like, we should support the other thing that's not Crunchyroll. However, I don't like their user interface. I think it's terrible. I hate watching dubs on there because, like, Crunchyroll will display... Like, if you're watching a dub on Crunchyroll, they will put all of the, like, subtitles on screen if somebody's texting and there's Japanese on screen. It'll put up the subs. I'm trying to like lose what I'm saying. And High Dive will do that, but only if you have closed captions on. But the closed captions are just the subtitles. So it's like the subtitles of what they're saying don't match what like the dub is saying. And it's been a fun experience like to go back and forth and see like the differences between the sub and the dub. But yeah, I don't like High Dive. Hulu is awful because the subs are delayed by like a second from what they're actually saying. So if they start talking here, now the sub will pop up for what they just started saying. And it's really annoying. I don't have Disney Plus, so I don't watch there. Prime Video has ads now, so I don't watch that. And yeah, Netflix and Crunchyroll are the only ones I actually enjoy watching. So, does Amazon have exclusive anime? Maybe? I don't know. Who's to say? I did suffer through, well, not suffer through, but I trudged my way through Yozakura Family on Hulu, which it actively took me longer to watch that show than it should have. Also, that show did not get... Okay, I'll talk about Yozakura Family when we get there. But yeah, Prime having ads is the dumbest thing ever. I agree. I watch dub. Yes, I do watch dub, okay? Get off my case. Get off my case. I like watching dub. Half the shows on this list I watched dubbed, okay? Okay? Get off my back, Max, okay? I watch dub. I'm watching One Piece dubbed, okay? Calm down. It's fine. Dub, okay, here's what I'll say about dub. As someone who works 40 hours a week, has a full-time job, has other things to do at home and when I'm not at work, dub has become revolutionary in me watching anime. Because when you watch sub, I have to sit down and, like, actively focus at the screen, and I can't be doing anything else. But dub, I can, like, multitask. I can eat dinner. I can make dinner. I can clean up after dinner. I can do work, like, that kind of stuff. I can do laundry. Like, other tasks that need to get done, I can multitask while I'm watching dubbed. So there's a lot of shows that I do watch dubbed, but I also watch a lot of shows subbed still. Like, whenever Demon Slayer comes out, I watch that subbed. I'll probably watch Solo Leveling Season 2 subbed. I'll watch Kaiju number 8 subbed if they don't do a simuldub again. I watch My Hero subbed. Like, so there's a ton of shows that I do watch subbed just because I watched, like, the first half of Yozakura Family subbed. Just because sometimes that's easier. But I will try to watch dub, and the sooner a dub comes out to the release, like Dandadan, I watched the whole thing dubbed because it was a simuldub every week. So it does make it better. Now, anyway, that being said, we will start the tier list. I was worried this stream was not going to be as long as normal, but we're 25 minutes in and I haven't even started the tier list yet. So, kicking it off tonight is Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. romance anime. This was like the big romance anime of 2024. And like especially the summer season. This anime though, I'm not going to say mid. I despise that word because if everything is mid, then nothing is, like to quote Syndrome, right? So here's the thing. Alia was all right. It was all right. There was some funny stuff. That is one I watched dubbed just because I'm like, it's a slice of life, like goofy rom-com. I'll watch it dubbed. I don't care. I'll turn it on while I'm at work, right? And it was good, but it struck me as it wanted to be Love is War so bad. And there's another show on here that also wanted to do that. And it's like, because the dub for Love is War is so good, like all these other, as they're dubbing all of these other like slice of life rom-com shows, they all want to be Love is War so bad. And it sucks. And now it doesn't help that the MC, I don't even remember his name, is voiced by, what's his name? It's not Ian Sinclair. I think it's Aaron Dismuke is his name. Let me look it up because otherwise it's going to bother me. But it doesn't help that he was the MC. So every time I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh, that's so-and-so. Oh, yes, sometimes. I don't even need to finish searching it. There it is. Behind the voice actors is goated. Yes, Aaron Dismuke. Yeah, like, it just sounds like that. And I don't like it. Other than that, I think the premise was really interesting of, like, her speaking Russian to convey all of these feelings, but she doesn't know that he speaks Russian or, like, he understands Russian. And I think that was great. There was also, and here's what kind of turned me off to it, there was a lot of weird romantic, like, tension and undertones with his sister. And it's not like the typical anime, like, oh, they're not really siblings, they're cousins, or they're, like, friends who were raised together, so they're like siblings. No, they're full blood-related siblings. And there's a lot of weird romantic tension there, and I hated every second of that. And also, his sister, there's one line at the end in the dub, and I need to go back and check the sub, because this may not be the case in the sub. There's one line that turned me off from the whole series. And it was in the last episode. And they're like, the two siblings go to the same school. They're both trying to become like student council president. And they had done a debate. And when she lost, she just said, "Chat, we got cooked." And I was like, I have never more hated anything in my entire life than someone who has shown no interest in being a streamer or like watching streams or doing anything aside from just being in general like nerd culture. I hate that so much, and it turned me off. Anyway, C tier, it was all right. There was one episode that was like completely dedicated to trying to get these girls to strip, and it was very uncomfortable and awkward. So yeah, she's like Gen Z. I mean, yeah, but also I feel like the only people who can say "chat, we got cooked" is someone who's streamed. Like, you have to be a streamer to earn the right to say that. Like, you can't just be nothing. Like, you can't just be a random bypasser on the street and be like, "Chat, we got cooked." No, stop appropriating my culture, okay? So anyway, yes, thank you, Golden. C for chat, we got cooked. That's good. Okay. Next up, Mission Yozakura family, A tier. Easy A tier. Aside from the shenanigans of Disney Plus not promoting this anime at all. Because as soon as this got announced to be a Disney Plus exclusive, I was like, nobody's ever going to watch it ever. And that's incredibly sad. Whoa, John Bass is here. What's up, John? What is that? Is that just like what kind of notification is that? Is that just like, oh, it's telling me he's here as a member for 2 months, which is true. Let me out. There we go. Hey John, what's up? As I was saying, as soon as it got announced for Disney Plus, I was like, no one's ever gonna watch this ever. Oh, it's a milestone chat. Gotcha. And that sure is exactly what happened. I did not see anyone except for like one YouTuber who I follow on Twitter, who's the one who like showed me the show, like by recommending it on Twitter, because he was a big like into the manga and stuff. And it's a great show. It really is. Like, everyone who's out here like, oh, Shonen Jump is dying because My Hero and Jujutsu are over. Guys, Yozakura Family, Kaiju number 8, like, there's all these great shonen, but you guys aren't watching them. Now, a lot of people watch Kaiju, but Yozakura Family, I get frustrated every time I see a Disney Plus anime because they don't promote it. Because here's the difference between Disney Plus / Hulu and Netflix, right? Netflix has an anime Twitter account. They have Netflix Anime, and they promote. They put trailers. They say, hey, here's what's coming out. Oh, here, a new episode of Blue Box just dropped. A new episode of dandadan just dropped. Like, they're continually telling you that there's there's anime to watch on Netflix. Disney doesn't do that. Hulu doesn't do that. They may do like one tweet once. I think it was Disney Plus France did one post once that said that Bleach was on Disney Plus. And that was it. And they don't do any other promoting or marketing. And they suck up the international distribution rights and then don't do anything with it. So they effectively kill these shows. Yozakura Family would have been like one of the most goated shows of the entire year if it was on Crunchyroll or Netflix or both. The only reason people talked about dandadan is because it was on Crunchyroll and Hulu. Or Crunchyroll and Netflix. Same for Blue Box. The only reason people kind of talk about Blue Box is because it's on Netflix. And Netflix actually promotes that they're airing stuff. So, aside from that, Yozakura Family is really good. I want to pick up the manga and read it. I enjoyed it. It's a great spy, action, adventure, action thriller. But I do really like the romance. I love Taiyo and Musumi's relationship. And how, like, I wanted to do a video on it, but I never, like, actually sat down and put the script together. But their relationship is so wholesome and good, and he, like, wants to do better and protect her and get stronger, and then she, like, is consistently supporting him all the way there, and, you know, it's great. So, what's the name of this one? Mission Yozakura Family. It's good. So, that's all I'll say about that. I might do another video as I read the manga and, like, the second season of anime comes out. Although I don't think it's coming out till 2026. Which is good. I'm glad to see they're not constrained to the yearly schedule like a lot of these shows are. Like, you know, My Hero and Kaiju and Windbreaker and Mashal. Well, I don't know. I don't know when Mashal Season 3 is coming out. Do we know? Thank you. When Mashal Season 3. Oh, speaking of, I did just finish the Mashal manga over like this Christmas break. Very good. I hope they finish it in the anime. So we'll see if they do. I hope they do. I just realized I paused ads. Can I just turn off? Well, I don't want to turn off monetization. I just want to turn off ads. How do I do that? Because I don't like that the ads pop in and ruin your guys' watching experience. Choose how mid-rolls appear. Insert manually. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now I should Yeah, I don't. Okay. So the only way the streams will make money while they're going is if someone does super chats or joins members, which you don't have to do, by the way. I don't stream specifically to make money. That's mainly what the videos are for. So I do hate that the ads pop up, and like TC was saying, as I was explaining what the tier list was, an ad popped up, and I'm like, that's so annoying. Like, just let me like, if I go on break and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do a be right back, put an ad there because you're not missing anything. I hate that it interrupts your watching experience. So I mean, I will turn it on for the VOD, but gifting is turned off. How do I turn it on? Hold on. How'd that happen? It shouldn't be turned off. Okay, that's ads specifically. Bro, let me do what I need to do. I didn't realize I turned off gifted. I don't think I did. It should be on. Unless it's not. Hold on. Let me look. Because I have my stream. I always have my stream pulled up on my phone. I don't... John, what kind of phone are you on? Because I know Apple's real picky about what they do and don't let you do with YouTube. Just because they... YouTube's really... Or, I'm sorry, it's not even YouTube. It's Apple is very picky. Like, Apple won't let you join a membership on the YouTube studio or on the YouTube app because YouTube said they don't get a cut of the join, like, for memberships. So they said, okay, fine, we're not enabling the button. So it's really stupid. I hate Apple sometimes. So anyway, moving on. Next up, we got no longer allowed in another world. I'm going to put it in B. Also, before I start talking about this, I want to know, when you're doing a tier list, if I say, let's say I put Makaine here. That's not where it's going, but just, like, for example, which one of these is better? When you're building a tier list, is the better one built out to the right, or is it the one closest to the letter? Because I was watching, Jackson did a video where he was doing a tier list, and he kept building the tier list out this way. Instead of like, oh, I think Makaine is better, so I'll put it closer to the letter. Does that make sense? I'm just curious because I want to make sure I'm doing this right. So, closest to the letter. Okay, that's what I thought. Was the higher one, was closest to the letter. Because, like, in S tier, the one that's closest to the S would be the highest one. So, okay. Okay, now that I know I have that right. Anyway, no longer allowed in another world. It was good for an isekai. It does a lot of new things to kind of break from that trend, which I've watched a lot of isekai, and this one was like, yeah, I got isekai'd here, and I don't want to be here. I want to go home. And I was like, that's real. I respect that on a personal level. So it was good. The comedy was great. I enjoyed watching that one dubbed. I felt like the plot got a little one-dimensional towards the middle, and then it kind of picked up towards the end, but I don't know. Because I've seen that manga in the store before, and I thought it looked interesting, because the premise is, like, this guy intentionally tries to off himself, and then he gets truck-cooned into this world, because this world, whenever they find people who are unsatisfied with their current life, they send Truck-kun to obliterate them and bring them to this world, right? This new world. So he gets brought in and gets given these special powers, but then he can't use his powers like all of the other humans who were brought there. So, yeah, it was all right. I don't really have much to say about it otherwise. But Truck-kun is a main plot device. That's giving Truck-kun a lot of credit. because it's like in the beginning and then never brought up again as a selling point. So No Longer Allowed was good. Maka Ine, Too Many Losing Heroines. I'm gonna say top of B. It was good. I think it was one of the better romance anime that came out this year. This was such a bad year for romance anime. Unless there's just something that I'm missing. Was there like a big romance anime that I missed that's supposed to be like goated? I'm confused. I'm just curious if there's something that I'm missing, because I feel like last year we had a lot of bangers back and forth. So, in my opinion, when someone says it's a good isekai, that means as much as someone saying it's a good 7-Eleven employee. It's just like whatever. That's kind of how that works. Yeah, okay, Maka Ine was good. I like the premise of following the girls who get rejected instead of like the relationship that's successful, and how Nukumizu, the protagonist, then comes into their lives and they all like kind of naturally start falling for him, and it's not forced. It's not a harem anime where it's forced and like, oh, they should all be with him, kind of like quintessential quintuplets. It feels very natural where like he's doing things and helping them and building up a relationship that's not a romantic one. Like they're building up a friendship, and then it kind of just goes from there. It's a really pretty anime. I'll give them that. It looks nice. The dub was pretty solid, and it was a fun watch. So I give it B, because I usually don't like the harem type anime, which is why I dropped the what was the one from last year? The 100 Girlfriends I really, 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 really love, or whatever. I can't stand that show. I would rather subject myself to Evangelion again than have to watch the 100 Girlfriends anime. All right, first movie. This one's kind of an interesting pick. It's The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, however they say it. Lord of the Rings anime movie, we'll call it that. It's not an anime per se. It's kind of, I don't know. I'm counting it because it was anime and it has a Japanese director and it was done by a Japanese studio. So by all intents and purposes, it is an anime. But it falls into like an odd category. So I'm gonna be Rohirrim. Oh, I'm seeing two pronunciations in chat here: Rohirrim or Rohirrim. Here I'm. Rohirrim or Rohirrim. There's two conflicting opinions in chat right now. So I'm going to be brutally honest, guys. I am no Tolkien head, right? I like Tolkien as much as the next guy. Actually, probably not as much as the next guy. I like Lord of the Rings. I thought they were incredible movies, especially with the way they were made. As like way back in, ye olden days of the early 2000s. And I can appreciate them for that. I thought the Hobbit movies were good. They were enjoyable. They were fine. Okay, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. This movie, however, was all right. So it's going to go high C because this movie was all right in the sense of there were some really good action cuts at certain points in the movie. And then everything outside of that was kind of all right. And there were a lot of instances where I was looking at the movie, like I was watching it. We went and saw it in IMAX, and I was looking at it, and I was like, "This is a full budget Warner Bros. Animated movie. Like, there's a lot of blurry backgrounds and limited animation, and like I don't know if I just expected more because I'm used to watching anime movies like, you know, the My Hero Academia movie that has a big budget and like has this huge team on it. And I just assumed that something like Lord of the Rings, one of the biggest IP franchises in the world, would have gotten a little bit better of a budget. And I don't know. Maybe I just expected too much, but the animation was really limited. As for the story, I thought the story was fine. I understand, like, Helm was supposed to be this arrogant the guy who, like, because the whole inciting incident is that Helm kills this guy's dad and then doesn't apologize for it. He's just kind of like, well, he was weak. Womp womp, get up and get out. And he's like, I'm going to burn your town to the ground. And he's like, all right, buddy, whatever you say, kid. And then he kind of does. And then they like have to retreat all the way back to this fortress in the mountains, and it's like, oh, why does that look familiar? It's a giant wall with a curvy road up to it, and then at the end, you know, what's her name? Helga? No, that's not right. What is her name? I think it is Helga. Hera. I'm sorry. Right? Yes. Hera. That's her name. Not Helga. That's wrong. Hera was an interesting protagonist. I have no issue with them going with a female lead, but I think they kind of cheapened her out a little bit because there were a lot of points where she was like, well, I'm not going to get married because getting married is lame. And it's like, okay, well, not everyone has to get married. It's just the way you went about delivering those lines and the attitude and the sentiment is a little odd. And they took this, like, really, like, everyone had, like, this really weird preconceived notion about the writers of Rohan and how they're like, oh, they're girls. And, like, the main villain literally is his motivation after about the first half just becomes, well, I don't want to lose to a girl. That'd be lame. And then he loses to a girl. Spoiler alert. And I don't know. I couldn't fully get behind Hera. She just wasn't as engaging of a protagonist as like Frodo or Bilbo or Gandalf or whatever. So it was all right. If you can watch it on streaming, like for free as part of your streaming, I would watch it. I think it's interesting. And there certainly are parts of it that I think look really good. And I'm a sucker. Like I've been wanting a high fantasy like animated movie for a while, and this scratched that itch. But even then, it wasn't like the greatest thing of all time. So that's all I've got. This show, A Condition Called Love. I'm gonna give it D. I watched like the first 6 episodes out of 12, so I watched half of it, and I was not into it at all. Because the guy's low-key kind of creepy. Like, they try to pivot it and be like, oh, but he's such a good guy. Like, he is really caring and sweet, and like he cares for her, and he wants to find all this stuff for her, even at his own detriment, like very sacrificial, And I'm like, that's great. Him showing up like hours before she gets to the train station is a little stalkery. Like, I don't know. And I thought the OP was good. That's about the only thing I liked about this show. So yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. I didn't like it. So D tier it is. I couldn't get into it. Like, and I like romance anime. I love romance anime, but I couldn't get into it. Did I see Uzumaki or the Rick and Morty anime? No to both. Uzumaki, no. And then Rick and Morty, I don't care because I don't like Rick and Morty. I was never really one for those big, like, adult, like, more crass animated shows. I mean, I've watched Rick and Morty in, like, the first couple seasons, and I didn't like it. Same with Family Guy. I tried to watch Family Guy because I was like, some of it's funny. And then I think I got to season 4 of Family Guy. It was all right. Delicious in Dungeon. High A tier. Sorry, Kiju. I know you said S tier, but I'm gonna try to be more conservative with S tier because sometimes I get a little like everything goes in S, but I'm gonna try to be a little more conservative with S tier this stream. Delicious in Dungeon, great banger anime. Another Netflix one that got a simuldub and aired weekly, which is big character development for Netflix because usually they used to just drop all of their anime at once and then the dub would come like 6 months later. So good on Netflix for actually like doing simuldubs and releasing on a weekly schedule. They've gotten a lot better about doing that, which is nice because then you can feel like because then you can actually like be engaged and watch it as it's coming out in Japan. So Delicious Dungeon is good. I like that they flesh out the world building of the dungeon and like every floor. And this is what I said in the video is every floor feels unique. Every floor is different. It has different monsters, different ecosystem, different layout, architecture, like the whole shebang. Every floor is different. And when you look at an anime like Sword Art Online, that also is like kind of a dungeon crawler. That's the first one that came to mind. All of the floors look the same, except for like a handful of floors that are supposed to be like unique and special. But Delicious was able to take that and make them all unique and very nice, which also ties into the recipes. Like some of the recipes, I think my favorite was when they made the ice cream with the holy water and then they put it in a jar and they swung it around like a flail weapon and used it to kill the ghosts. But as they're doing it and they're explaining how they made the recipe for it, it makes sense. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh, they just pulled this out of thin air, right? But they crafted it with all of the tools and the resources that they had and put together a rational solution and did some problem solving. And then they figured it out. And then bada bing, bada boom, they went and they killed some ghosts. And hitting the ghost also chilled out the ice cream and then made it cold. And it was such a cool thing. And that is repeated for all of the recipes, like how they make pizza at some point. I won't say how they make pizza in case you haven't seen it because it's kind of wacky, but they do that. And then there's this whole arc with like was it goblins or orcs? One or the other. I don't remember, but there's like this whole thing of them like trying to work together and it's good. And then like about halfway through, the plot gets oddly deep and serious for like 4 episodes and then goes back to the like nonchalant happy-go-lucky type stuff, and I'm all here for it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. The party interacts really well together. It's done by Studio Trigger, so the animation is on point. And I didn't know it was Trigger until a couple episodes in. There was like an action cut that I was like, oh, that's a Trigger kind of cut. And then I looked it up, and it's Studio Trigger. So that's what I have about that. Can you guys hear the music at all? That is question of the day. I just realized I let my music lapse, and we were on something completely different. We were like on Zelda Lo-Fi. I'm trying to have the music a little lower just because last time it was too high, which made it really hard to cut clips from the My Hero stream or whatever, because the music was so obnoxiously loud that cutting clips from it, like I couldn't reduce the music at all. So if I pull any clips from this, I want to be able to like keep the music low so it's not obnoxious and overpowering. So if that sounds fine, we'll keep going. Kaiju number 8. Where do I want to put this? I think this might have been my personal sleeper hit. Like, for me personally, a show that going into this year I was completely intent on ignoring, and now I have, like, all of the manga releases on my shelf behind me, which is how I was last year with Mashal. I think Kaiju can go in A above Yozakura Family. Kaiju number 8 is good because I've had a couple of people talk to me and be like, well, I don't like Attack on Titan. I think it's too dark. It's da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, if you think Attack on Titan is too dark, watch Kaiju number 8. It's virtually the same premise, but with a lot more lighthearted, like, comedy and, like, to balance out that darker stuff. So I also like it. It's very typical shonen of, like, nobody dies. But that's not really true. Nobody dies in the first season, but there are still stakes, and I appreciate that because I really don't like shows like Jujutsu Kaisen where the stakes are death and that's it, and that's the only stakes. Whereas Kaiju, death is obviously on the line because they're fighting these giant kaiju monsters, and like you could die at any point, but there's a lot of other stakes on the line too of like, okay, well, this building could get destroyed and that's our headquarters, or this civilian district could get destroyed and that's going to put a bunch of people in danger, or my secret's going to get exposed if I do this. Like, those are the stakes, and they're very different, and it's like, okay, you won the battle but you lost the war type stuff. So Kaiju number 8 is really good. The action is great. I will say I started reading the manga this week because, like I said, I have it on my shelf behind me. The art style in the manga is far superior to the anime in every way, shape, and form. And I don't know. I understand the anime fans who are upset about the kaiju art style being different for the anime. I understand that, because the art style in the manga is good. It looks great. And then the designs in the anime look a little off. They look a little funky. Like, not enough that I'm not going to watch it when season 2 comes out, but just enough that I'm like, ooh. Ooh. It's the opposite of Demon Slayer, where the anime was better than the manga. Okay, hold on. That's that. I will disagree with you on that. I think the Demon Slayer, the manga, and the anime are pretty solid. But I also really like the story of Demon Slayer, and I know not everyone holds it in such high esteem, but that's just how I feel about it. One Republic song for the ending is peak. It is. It's one of the only times I've ever listened to One Republic or Youngblood. I'll let you know that. The intro came on in the car one day, and one of my friends was like, oh, you listen to Youngblood? And I was like, no, I listen to this song by Youngblood. I don't listen to him outside of that. The same goes for One Republic. Like, it is also weird when I'm, like, listening to my anime playlist and I hit skip and then just One Republic starts playing. And I'm like, oh, that's not Japanese, but it's from an anime, so it's in my anime playlist. But, yeah, I really enjoyed Kaiju. I think the fights are great. It's kind of a nonstop action kind of show. Like, there's a stretch of 2 or 3 episodes where it's just action, and then they'll do an episode of break, and then another 3 or 4 episodes of action. And I appreciate that, because there are some shows that the lull in between the action is too much, and I think Kaiju has a good balance of that. So, speaking of a show that is nonstop action, manga art of Demon Slayer is not bad, but it doesn't compare to the anime. Yeah, I like the Demon Slayer art style for what it is, but I do think the anime improved on it a little bit. And I don't say any of that to besmirch the mangaka's art. I think she did a really good job. But anyway, Windbreaker is in B. Windbreaker was good. I did a whole video on it. I like the premise of, like, finding a purpose in your fighting and not just fighting for the sake of fighting and throwing hands every time someone says something you don't like. But I did not appreciate how this season was set up. And I think this might be something that the manga struggles with too, because of the way they adapted it. But I really hate that, like, what is it, 12 episode season? What, 6 of the episodes were centered around this one thing? Hold on, let me look this up, because I want to make sure I'm not going crazy. I just want to see the IMDb, like, the episode list. Okay, episodes. No. Episodes. Here we go. Whoa, ain't no way it was 14 episodes. It was 13. Okay. So, of the 13 episodes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I guess 5 of them. 5 of the 13, so almost half, was this one fight where they're in the old rundown theater doing this back and forth. And it was so drawn out, and like it felt long, but at the same time felt like it was moving at a breakneck speed. And I like the plot and I like the things that they had to say. I just wish there was simultaneously more time, like fleshing out the ideas a little more, but then less time. I don't know. That's like an oxymoron, but that's just how I feel. It's all right. I'll watch season 2. The audacity of them to end like where they did with this season is crazy work. Like, they just ended with, yeah, we're gonna go fight these guys. See you in season 2, and then they end. I'm like, bro, you should have cut that off like way sooner. Not we're on our march to the next conflict. But it's whatever. I don't, Windbreaker's better than Tokyo Revengers? True. At least the animation's consistent. You know what I'm saying? Spy Family Code White is going to go up here in A tier. Really good movie. It's a spin-off, like, completely original story for the movie. And I thought it was fun. Another, Forger outing. I think Spy Family is one of those series that will get more original movies, kind of like My Hero, where it's popular enough that the general audiences will go see it even internationally. And it's one where you can come up with an excuse to say, hey, Anya has this assignment, so we need to go to this place up north so that we can taste food. And then the hijinks and shenanigans expound from there. And the timeline is loose enough that, you can do these kind of like bottle episode type movies. So it was really fun. I enjoyed it. I went and saw it with my sister. The fact that they just went so crazy on animation of a kid needing to poop is mind-boggling. But you know what? Sure. Spy Family is, in my opinion, a very good intro anime to non-anime fans. Yes, Spy Family usually is my go-to, unless the person I'm talking to like really likes action, then I'll say like My Hero, Demon Slayer, that kind of stuff. But if it's like one of my coworkers, she was very new to anime and wasn't a big action fan, so I was like, oh, well, you should watch Spy Family. Like, it's very wholesome, very like chill, more of a comedy than anything else. So I saw James' message. My little sis came in here to ask me some stuff. She saw you, and we ended up talking about anime and you. She thinks you're based for saying Toradora is bad and Bunny Girl Senpai is S tier. Hey, listen, I'm just here to spit facts, man. I will always talk about the faults of Toradora. Yo, guys, this is the first... Hold on. Ain't no shot. I gotta fact check real quick. I think, guys, it's only taken us this long. I think this is the first tier list stream without Toradora. It is. It took us 6 streams to finally have a stream with no Toradora. We are free. We broke the cycle. No Toradora. Okay, well, we talk about it, but it's not on the tier list. That's what I mean. We finally have a tier list that doesn't have Toradora on it. Thank God. I cannot talk about that anime again. I hate it. Inevitably, next year, the video will come. I gave Toradora a second chance. There's a couple videos I want to do like that. That's like, oh, I gave this series a second chance. Taiga is so annoying. I don't care what people say. True. No, it's true. Taiga is the worst. Like, legitimately, one of the worst tsunderes known to man. Because at the end of the series, she's exactly the same as she was at the beginning. Like, I don't know. I just don't like abusive relationships. I'm sorry. I'm saying the quiet part out loud. Okay. I think Ryuji is fine. But I don't like Taiga, and that's why I don't like Toradora, because I don't like her, and she's the main love interest, and I think it's dumb. So, that's all I have to say. Anyway, moving on to an actually good romance anime, Dangers in My Heart Season 2! Max, you can't be saying that. Max, you can't be saying that. I barely consider Toradora haters people. Stop. You can't say that. Alright, I gotta give Danger to My Heart first S tier of the night. It's so good. Max, you gotta stop. Okay. Dangers in My Heart was really good. I feel like Season 2 expounded upon and made better the things I really enjoyed in Season 1, which was Yamada and Ichikawa's relationship. Ichikawa is just proof that us short kings can win. So never give up hope, brothers, because we'll come back. We can always win. So I can relate to him on a personal level of like, oh, I don't value myself enough to be in this relationship or like allow myself to have feelings for this person who's way better than me. I totally understand that. I did that a lot in high school, and I kind of still do now. But, and her, like, I just want you to treat me like a normal person. So, and when I say short king, I mean, like, guys, she's like almost a full head taller than him. Like, it's hilarious. And their dynamic is so fun and cute and wholesome. And yeah, the animation was peak. It's good. And I think Season 2 culminates in probably one of the best, or my favorite, I'll put it that way, one of my favorite confession scenes, because I didn't think they were going to get to it. So now I want to pick up the manga, and maybe I will, who's to say, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's good. Are they doing a Season 3? Because I don't know, where they left off gave me very big, like, we adapted it type thing. But I don't know if they're... I don't think... Okay, so there's no confirmation as of April, but... Yeah, I don't see anything in here, so I might need to just go read the manga. Womp womp. You might have to get a High Dive? Yeah, I forgot this one's a High Dive exclusive. The dub's pretty good, though. The dub, okay. Here's what I'll say about the dub, not dove, for Dangers in My Heart. It's good, but it's got some rough spots. It's not like a perfect dub, but it's good. I'll say that. So, Dangers in My Heart gets an S. Next up is Solo Leveling. I don't know how to feel about Solo Leveling. I just rewatched the first half of season 1 because I was doing a video, and then I stopped. I wasn't going to do the video, so I didn't finish it. All right, I might get cooked for this one. I'm going to say high A. I really enjoyed Solo Leveling. I like Genu as a protagonist. I think it's also elevated for me personally for 2 reasons. One, because I think Alex Lee really kills it in the dub for Genu, right? Like, he does an incredible job. And I love that aspect of Solo. The other aspect that it boosts its enjoyability for me was I watched it with friends from church, and that's how we got connected. And like, now I have these great friends, and we would just watch Solo every week. We'd get together before our young adults, after work, before young adults, like in the middle, and just watch Solo and talk about it and have fun with it. I'm really excited for season 2. I picked up the manhwa and I started reading the manhwa. I can't justify putting it any higher than that, but, you know, it is what it is. I do think the fighting was a lot of fun to watch. The anime, yeah, I think season 2 starts like next week. I think it literally starts a week from tomorrow. So, yeah, I just think Solo was really good. The fights were incredible. Also, to everyone saying anime of the year, okay, let me reiterate this. Only one show is going in anime of the year and season of the year, and that will be determined at the end. And it will be a show probably from S tier that will go in both of those categories. So there's only one, because there can only be one anime of the year. There can only be one season of the year. So, yeah, Max, I'm sorry, Max York, not Maximum Effort Max. There's 2 Maxes in chat. It's a very easy binge. Literally 12 episodes? 13? I think. I don't know. All right. TC's going to love this one. Free Run Beyond Journey's End gets a high A above Kaiju. No. No. Sorry, guys. Did I get your hopes up there? Did I get your hopes up? Did I make you think it was going to be high A? You thought, huh? Here's the thing. Let me explain. I love Free Run as much as the next guy. I think it's an incredible show. I really do. However, for me personally, it's not S or anime of the year level, because I think it's good. I think something that hard carries the series for me is the perspective on demons and how they're like this pure evil, unredeemable, like always out for the most evil thing known to man. And like, I think that hard carries it a lot because it's a very Christian perspective on demons. And even though really the only thing they share biologically is in the name, and that's not even biological, but it's good. The animation is great. Animation is peak. It just, there were certain points in where I was watching it where I felt like it was dragging a little bit. And I don't say that just to like, you know, be a contrarian, but I felt like there were points in the middle, especially after the demon arc, where it felt like it was lulling and we were kind of like dragging to get to the next thing. And then it picks up a little bit when you get to the mage exam, and it like picks up again. But that middle section was kind of hard to get through. So I like it. I will definitely watch it when season 2 comes out and I need to read the manga. But for now, that's where I'll leave it. So get off my back, guys. Okay. Next up, we have Rascal Does Not Dream of a Knapsack Kid. That's that one. Knapsack Kid is going... Yeah, high A. It goes high A. So this movie is getting high A because of the story. Because this is the story. This story is specifically more about Sakata and his relationship with his mom. And his dealing with, like, I don't feel worthy to be your son. And as, like, his sister's trying to build up that relationship again after everything that's happened, he very much withdraws from it. And kind of is like, oh, I'm going to let you have this relationship with your mom because we haven't had it, and I'm going to withdraw, and that's fine. And that's a lot of stuff I've gone through personally with, like, feeling like you don't fit in your family and kind of just, like, pulling back and letting the sibling have it. And I really appreciate it for that. But then the solution being like, hey, you can't keep running away from this. Like, you need to just own it and go back. And kind of like, and I like that the movie focused on him after basically the rest of the series focusing on other people. So it's that very, like, his selfless behavior for the rest of the series kind of turns around and, like, has to go a little more introspective and more inward for this one. So I did appreciate that. So yeah, high A. But TC used his milestone chat to say, Freeman is the perfect woman. She sleeps in, eats steak, collects nerdy stuff, and kills demons. I have a girlfriend, but you are based for saying that. So that's what I will say. Next up is the Sister Venturing Out movie. I'll put high B. I also had a lot of relatability to this one because I have a younger sister, and just the dynamic between Sakata and Kaide was really good, and I appreciated that. I just got me emotional in the theater, man. So, but it is what it is. I won't dive into it too much because it's also been like almost a year since I've seen it, so I don't remember too much about it. But Demon Slayer to the Source. Okay, D tier. It's a comp film. I'm not putting it any higher than D tier. It was a comp. Like, I can't. What do I rate this movie on the merits of the things it did not accomplish on its own? Like, the compilation movies should get D. No, it should get Shadow Realm, actually, because here's the thing: this compilation movie stands on the merits of the last 2 episodes of season 3, and then the first episode of season 4. So it stands on merits that are not its own. It's what that guy say? Stolen valor. It's stolen valor from other things for this compilation movie. That's not a reflection on Demon Slayer as a whole. That's a reflection on a compilation film. Okay? Don't worry. We'll get to the next season of Demon Slayer. It's in here. But for the compilation film specifically, it goes Shadow Realm. And it's not the whole arc. It's literally just the last 2 episodes of season 3 and the first episode of season 4. They compiled them together. And was it great to see it early? Yeah. But then I felt like I was going insane because I felt like it was going insane because it felt like so long from February to May when they started airing it again. And it was ridiculous. So Shadow Realm on compilation films, they're evil, and I did a whole video about that. Next up, Hokkaido gals are super adorable. Big fat C tier. But it was better than Alia. At least it was more. Okay, let me rephrase that. It was more enjoyable than Alia, even though I felt like it had more fan service than Alia did. And it literally, the premise is just guy moves to Canada, meets Canadian girls, is shocked that Canadian girls are just like him and are kind of, especially the purple-haired girl who's like kind of nerdy, He's like, whoa. And then the blonde-haired girl talks to him. He's like, what? Canadian girls are cute and they talk to me? That's crazy. So, and then it's just shenanigans of like, guy lives in Canada. And it's not Canada, it's Hokkaido, but the dub, they all have Canadian accents. And I don't know if that's a thing, like in Hokkaido, like if that's people in Hokkaido have an accent that's similar to Canada. Or if it's just like the dub was just like, no, he's in Canada now. Like, because he's big city kid. It'd be like the equivalent of moving from New York to Canada. Because he moved from like Tokyo to Hokkaido. And then they're like, welcome to Canada, eh? We do a lot of stuff here, eh? And I'm like, bro. The dub director has got like some personal, like, his wife or her husband or whatever, like, whoever was the director on that has to have some kind of Canadian involvement. There's no way the way they did this and got it approved. Aside from that, it's a good show. It was enjoyable. I think there was a lot of fan service, especially with the blonde girl because she's the main girl. And I think they leaned into that a little too much for my personal taste. But aside from that, it was all right. Another romance anime. Ooh, and then we got a trifecta after that. Holy cannoli. We gotta hit a trifecta, hot dog. All right. Tying the knot with the Amigami Sisters. I'm like halfway through the first season of this one. I'm like 8 episodes in. So right now, I will say it's high C just because it's fun. And I like it significantly more than quintessential quintuplets because it's kind of the same premise of like these 3 girls. One of them's going to end up with him because they have to marry the main guy because that's the thing that was set up in the first episode. And we don't know who. It's kind of a mystery. We're going to keep teasing it by doing like this future thing. Now, what I can vouch for, and I do think is very interesting, even though it's not specifically a Christian thing, because Japan's not a Christian country, right? But it's the concept of this guy goes to this shrine because all 3 girls are like a shrine maidens. They work at the shrine, and he goes there to seek housing because he can't stay in the orphanage anymore, and he very like hardcore atheist. He's like, God's not real. You got to do everything through grit, determination, and hard work. And then he meets these 3 girls who are like on the opposite end of the spectrum. And just the way like him interacting with them and having that personal experience. And like, that's really the only way you can understand religion in that sense is by experiencing it firsthand. And it does allude to like, he did believe in the gods and then like in a very like kind of sad but realistic stance, something bad happened, even though he was doing all of like his prayers and his good omens and stuff. Like it still didn't work that way. So now he's like, oh well, they're not real. Like da 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 da. So that's his character arc, is like going through that, and I can appreciate that aspect of it. And the fan service in this one is not too bad. There's some of it because it's a romance anime from Japan. Like, come on, guys. But it is a lot more tame. And I think that it's helped because they're all shrine maidens. So they're kind of like held to a higher standard. But it's good. It's funny. I'm enjoying it. So now, we all knew it was coming. My Hero Academia Season 7. That's going to go straight up to S tier. Top of S. I've done a whole stream talking about My Hero Season 7, so I will keep it brief. I also talked about it at length. I think it's the longest anime I talked about in the video was My Hero Season 7. I think it's the best season of My Hero so far. It long surpassed my expectations of what I thought Bones was going to do with this season, especially with the Deku and Shigaraki stuff. They somehow found a way to keep the season really consistent on their yearly production schedule. And I'm honestly, my faith in Bones has been restored. Like, I was really down in the dumps after season 6 because, like, the second half was good, but the first half not so much, at least of season 6. So then we get to season 7 and they're like, hey, the first 4 episodes are recaps, so we're really only doing a 21 episode season, not a full 25, which means season 6 was the last full season of My Hero. So it surpassed all my expectations. It adapted my favorite arc, or has adapted the first half, really, of my favorite arc of the manga just exponentially well, and I love it for that. And it's just great. It's peak. What can I say? It's so good. I can't wait for season 8. And so, listen, man, season 8, they're still getting a full year for the season 8 production, but they have half the episodes because if you break up the number of manga chapters left, which is about 30 to 32-ish, depending on how you want to count it, it will only equate to about 10 to 12 episodes, depending on how they pace the adaptation, which they might pace it a little longer and fill in, like, add some original stuff to pad it out just a little bit, kind of like what Demon Slayer did, but not as much. And then, of course, they have that bonus chapter that I don't want to say anything about because it's a spoiler. But the fact that they're still starting airing in the fall of next year instead of, like, pushing it up to the summer or the spring is great, and it gives me a lot of hope because obviously they know what's coming. They know what they have to adapt. And the fact that they're giving the team a whole year to really, like, do half the work is incredible. Can't wait to see what they cook there. All right, guys, get out of here with the biased ranking, okay? Listen. You guys were biased, trying to get me to put Freerun in S tier. Get out of here. Get out of here. I mean, someone could pay me to move Freerun up. I'm just saying. Like, if your super chat's high enough, like, I could. You know, I'm sorry, that's a lie. My integrity, something, integrity, something, not being swayed by money, something. Anyway, Oshinoko Season 2 is also going to go in S tier, right next to My Hero. Oshinoko Season 2, fire. Fire every episode. Every episode's a banger. Not a single bad episode of that season, right? I really love the way they... John, I was kidding! John Bass with the $20 super chat. Move Freerun up. Well, I mean... in my defense, you didn't say how far up, right? Like, you didn't say how far up I had to move it. Okay, fine. Top of A tier. I cannot be bribed to move it out of the tier that it's in. However, I will move it up. Okay, jeez. Thank you for the $20 super chat, though. I do appreciate that. Very much. Now, as I was saying, Oshinoko, they did a really good job adapting the stage play, and something I totally forgot to mention in the video, and I noticed it as I was looking through footage for B-roll and stuff after I'd already recorded it, was there's a really good, like, sub-arc about adaptations and how when you're making an adaptation, there's a lot of stuff from the original creator that doesn't necessarily make it to the final script for the adaptation, and there are things you have to change in that whole process. And I thought that Oshinoko does a really good job about having that commentary on different aspects of the entertainment industry. And obviously we saw that a lot in season 1, saw that a lot in this like mini arc with the adaptation stuff, and I really appreciated that. And overall, it was a very vibrant, well-directed, well-animated season that, I don't know, I think it might be better than the first season. And that says a lot. I just feel like the second season was consistently moving. The first season was kind of like this weird like narrative pull through, whereas the second season was like boom, 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 boom. Like we were constantly moving through something, and the first season kind of like had a really solid direction for the first bit, and then after the like drama, it kind of dropped off for a little bit and then picked back up towards the end. But season 2 didn't have that problem. And also there's an aspect of it too where I had only read for about half of season 2, well, up to like the middle of the oh my gosh, Max, stop. Ain't no way. I mean, he did get specific, guys. Okay, listen. I'm not saying that I can always be bought, right? I'm not saying I can always be bought. However, what I am saying is he said free run in S. Now, I'm going to pull another loophole here. You did not say free run in top of S. And I'm not saying that to bait you to super chat again. I'm just saying you did not specify free run top of S. So free run is now at bottom of S. I'm also going to make an asterisk and a clarification. Nobody can buy their way into Anime of the Year or Season of the Year. Okay? Okay. I just want to make that abundantly clear that you cannot, like, super chat $100 and say free run Anime of the Year. No. I mean, I'll take the $100. Like, I appreciate the super chat and the support, right? But you can't do that. That's not how it's going to work, okay? Just so everybody's on the same page. Now, I might let you guys super chat and mess with the tier list. Just a little bit. So, yeah, Oshinoko Season 2, really good. I don't know. No notes. It was good. The only reason it's not higher than My Hero is because of my personal attachment to My Hero. Objectively, I think Oshinoko Season 2 is better than My Hero. I think it had a better consistent episode run, right, than My Hero did, but I like My Hero. I am biased. I will die on that hill. Mashal Season 2, B tier. It's good. The story is good. I love Mashal. The opening is fire. The ending is really good, too. Don't sleep on Tokyo's Way. It's good. But I do feel like they are really trying to stick with the Demon Slayer method of we're adapting this arc this season. But they still wanted to hit the 12-episode runtime. But they didn't have enough content to hit the 12-episode runtime without going over into the next arc for the next season, which won't be a problem next season. But this season, it felt like they kind of like started janking up the pacing in the latter half of season 2. Just so they could still hit that 12-episode mark. And that, to me, felt weird. Because it didn't feel that long in the manga when I read it. And I was like, oh, this feels like it's, like, consistently moving. And then the anime was like, snail's pace. Boo. So, Mashal was good. I enjoyed it. Hello, the yawning. Are you trying to get me to yawn on stream? I won't do it. We're about to make it the one row. Sign of Affection, I'm gonna say low A. A Sign of Affection was really good. I enjoyed it as a romance anime. I like, what's her name? Yuki and Itsuomi. I think they're great. The green-haired guy in this anime is kind of a tool, and I don't like him. But he kind of gets his comeuppance at the end of the season, or not his comeuppance, but like what he deserves. So, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I need to read the manga, but we'll see if I ever end up actually doing that, or if I just wait for season 2. So I'll also say a little spoiler alert. Sign of Affection might be in an upcoming video. What can I say? Might be featured in an upcoming video. Just saying. Just putting that out there. All right. Demon Slayer Season 4. Hashira Training Arc. This is the actual season. The one that IGN gave a 3 for no reason other than, I guess, clout farming. Demon Slayer is going to get high A. I can't justify putting it in S because as much as I do love that last episode, I think the season gets a little carried by that last episode because, again, in the middle, they kind of lost some steam for, like, an episode. But I do really like the original stuff that they added. I think it's great stuff, and I appreciate that they added it because some of it was desperately needed. Like the stuff with Sanemi and Obanai at the beginning of the season where like they're going out and doing this mission and then they like come back and they do the Hashira sparring, and I really love essentially the all original episode with Tengen and Tanjiro because they didn't get another like deep interaction before the final arc after Entertainment District, especially everything they went through together in Entertainment District. I think it was a nice like full circle moment for them to come back and him be like, all right, now that you've done this personal training with me, I'm dismissing you to the rest of the Hashira training. And I think that was a really good thing for them to add. And then of course that last episode, bro. Last episode, dude. I rewatch that episode at least once a week. At least once a week. Not the whole episode, but like the last like 10 minutes of it every week. It's so good. And I cannot wait for the movie trilogy, which should be coming next year. They said 2025. I don't know if that's global, like worldwide release, or if that's like Japan in July, everywhere else in August type stuff. But we'll have to wait and see. But Demon Slayer is good. All right, we're in the final row here. I guess we have been since Demon Slayer. Konosuba Season 3, middle of B. Actually, no, I'm going to put it higher B. I like Konosuba. I know there's a lot of crass humor in it, and that's not for everyone. I personally enjoy it, and I think it's funny. And this season was just a reminder of like, oh, yeah, Konosuba's hilarious, dude. Like, I love Konosuba. I think it's great. So, that's all I have to say about that. My Hero Academia, you're next. I can't justify putting another My Hero thing in S tier, so I'm going to put this middle of A tier. I think it might be the best My Hero movie thus far. And I think it took a lot of the things from the other 3 movies that we liked, and it took like what am I looking for to say here? It mainly took from 2 and 3, where 3, like from movie 2, Heroes Rising, it took the whole like gave class 1A as a group something to do instead of just focusing on Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki because they're the big like tent poles of the series. But then also from movie 3 went to all these different interesting locations in the vacuum of the place they went in that movie, and then still were able to give Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki spotlight. Like they were able to balance that better of, well, here's all three of them, and then here's the rest of the group, and they all have something important to do that's meaningful, and they're not just here so that we can say they're here and we can get the merchandising. So it was good. I liked the movie. But I can't justify putting it in S tier. Now, next up is Pseudo Harem. It's a romance anime. I don't know if anybody here's seen it. Maybe you have. Let me know. Have you seen Pseudo Harem? But I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it in middle B. Pseudo what? Okay, hold on. I know that sounds bad. Pseudo Harem B will also probably, I think, will be in a future video. It's actually really wholesome. It's a romance anime, 12 episodes, but it's 12 episodes start to finish. Right? So it's a complete story from beginning to end, 12 episodes, like a whole thing. The first 2 episodes really threw me off because I felt like the pacing was really this breakneck speed of like we were jumping from one thing to the other, and it all felt very disconnected. And I posted about that on Twitter, and someone said, "Oh, that's because the original like manga is a bunch of short stories, like they're really short chapters. So they're stringing together all of these essentially like mini chapters for an episode. So that's why it's like that." And I was like, oh, okay. So then changing my perspective on that going into the rest of the series, it's great. It's about this guy. I don't remember his name. I think it's AG. But the AG and I'm going to have to look up the names. Hold on. Because otherwise it's going to bother me. Animated series. It's about Eiji and Nanakura. That's her name. But Eiji and Nanakura are in the drama club together at their high school. And he's a year older than her. So he's her senpai, right? And when he's trying to get her to join the club, and then once she joins the club, he's like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to have like this harem of like girls to choose from, like an anime protagonist type stuff. So then she, like, because she wants to be an actor or an actress, she starts acting in all these different like characters. And that's the pseudo harem part of it. Is it's like, it's a harem because she's like acting like all these different people, but then she, like it's just the same person. And as it goes on, it gets really wholesome because it starts to become more like, because he's like, oh, where's like this personality, and she like brings it out like to humor him and be fun, and then as you get closer to the end, he's like, well, I want you, like Nanakura the person, not all of these different personalities. So it is really wholesome. Nick likes harem confirmed. No. I like harem with an asterisk because I like stuff like this where it's not technically a harem anime, or like the Makaine, right? So pseudo harem is good. I can vouch for it. It's good. I enjoyed it. There's as far as I can remember, I am 99% sure there's I'm going to drop down 98% sure there is no fan service. It's not that type of show. Unless you consider fan service like this girl like daydreaming about marrying this guy. Like, I know for some of us that's fan service. But in terms of like fan service like other romance anime, it's very tame. Like very tame. I would probably let my 14-year-old sister watch it. Type stuff. So Pseudo harem isn't quite a harem as much as it is a roleplay romance. Yeah, that's probably a better accurate, a more accurate description of it is just like it's roleplay romance is what it is. Like she's just acting all these different roles and yeah. So is there gasp hand holding? Yes, I think at least towards the end there is. I know there is. So there is hand holding. I guess that's fan service for some of us too. A lot of anime fans have never gotten that far. A lot of anime fans would never talk to a woman to begin with. So me, I'm not built like that. I'm built different, bro. I built different. All right. Big comedy show from this year. My dear friend Nokotan. All right, I'm about to make a lot of people upset. Low B. Low B. For Nokotan, I like the memes. I love the memes from Nokotan, right? I think it's great. However, this is the when I said there was another show. When I said there was another show that wanted to be Love is War so bad, it was Nokotan. It was Nokotan. The dub was kind of hard to watch, but I also was watching it in the background at work, so I couldn't switch to the sub. Actually, the yawning, yeah, that's a really fair sentiment. It made me smile a lot, but not laugh. Yeah, that's very accurate. That's very accurate. Of it made me smile. I might have done a little like exhale out of my nose, like that was funny. But I was not like busting my gut laughing. All right, guys, who's gonna clip this out and send it to Note to get me docked points for the best moots of the year? Someone's gonna do it, and I'm gonna lose because of this. But you know what? I can't betray the people. I can't betray my thoughts, feelings, and opinions for the sake of others. I have to be honest. So, yeah, Nokotan's all right. It was funny. I think the best episodes of Nokotan are like the first 4. Because you're still getting used to the comedy and the style and the flair. And then after that, I think the jokes start to get really repetitive and they go back to the same bit over and over again. And the dub narrator, no shade on this guy. He was probably just doing what he was told to do. But they really wanted him to be Ian Sinclair so bad. Like, they wanted him to be Ian Sinclair from Love is War so bad. And he just was not. So, Japanese are not funny. I beg to differ. I think the Japanese can be funny. Like, Love is War is hilarious, and that's an anime. But Nokotan could have been better. Okay. Mushoku Tensei Season 2 is next, but I need to fact check and see which episodes came out this year. Because I know they did a split core across 2023 and 24, so I need to know where I'm starting. Yes, this is the marriage arc. Okay. Am I in the wrong for saying that this stretch, and honestly, all of Oshinoko Season 2, I'm sorry, not Oshinoko, Mushoku Tensei Season 2 is kind of goated, actually. Like, it's good. The premise is solid. The writing is good. All of the stuff with Rudius and Sylphie is great. It's great, right? The problem comes in. Like, the true problem. Like, yes, Rudius is a perv. He does, like, yeah, he's got his ED thing that he's got to deal with in the first half of the season. Whatever. The true problem with Mushoku Tensei season 2 comes in at the very end. At the very end. When Rudy, okay, so spoilers, by the way, because this is like pretty massive stuff. If it was just like the normal stuff, I wouldn't have spoiled, but this is like big stuff. So Rudius and Sylphie get married after he like goes through this whole thing and is like, what was it? I hate talking about Mushoku Tensei because it's like, it's really good. And a lot of the premises and the things they talk about are really good, because we got to go back to the end of season 1, right? Rudius and Eris sleep together at the end of the season, right? That's how they end off season 1. And then she just dips. She just disappears and leaves. And then the first half of season 2 is Rudius having to overcome this like depression and guilt and all of this stuff, right? Of overcoming this, essentially turning sex into this casual thing. And that's something that the series really tries to grapple with him specifically, is like the consequences of just casually having sex with random people. And he gets ED and he can't do it with anyone. And then I don't remember who it was, but someone was telling him like, the reason you can't is because you are now afraid to be that vulnerable and put yourself out there, and essentially saying you can't just have casual sex anymore. Like, you have to be committed to one person, and you have to really love and trust that person to be able to get back out there and be that vulnerable. And then when he meets Sylphie, they get married, and then that aspect of it was great. The way that was written, not entirely great, because there is still a lot of like he's going to talk about trying to get stiff, and I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. But conceptually, it's really good. And then things like, he gets married. He's like, hey, I'm committed to you for the rest of my life. Like, I love you, Sylphie. Like, it's great. I'm going to stay committed to you, and I'm not going to fumble anymore. And then the second half comes around, and that's kind of which is what I'm rating here. So everything I just said, all withstanding, because that was last year. That's not what we're rating here. We're rating the second half of season 2, which is still good up until the last, what episode was it? I think it was, the last 2 episodes are about to utterly nuke the rating of this season. Because the last 2 episodes, spoilers by the way. So in the third to last episode, Rudius's dad, Paul, dies. And that's a lot for him to go through. My dad died, and it's kind of partially my fault because I wasn't paying attention and I got overconfident, and he had to save me, and that's how he got killed. And we saved my mom, but now she's also got like memory issues, and like he's going through all of this stuff, and it's a lot for him to go through. And he said something in that arc where he's like, I wish Sylphie was here because I need my person. And I'm like, wow, this is like character development for him, right? And then in this, Roxy is there, and she takes advantage of him and essentially like takes advantage of his vulnerable state so that she can sleep with him because she's in love with him, because he came and saved her like in exactly the way she always wanted a guy to. And then which honestly is kind of on him, because he was not very forthcoming about the fact that he was married to Sylphie. With Roxy, like he kind of buried the lead a little bit, so it's like kind of on him. But she just took advantage of the situation, and he really wasn't in the right mind space to say no, and like things happen, right? So after that, he's very remorseful and very like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this to Sylphie. Like, I said I was going to be faithful and loyal, and like I wasn't, and it's while I'm gone, and like he feels really bad about it. And then Alina Elise shows up, and she's like, well, your dad slept with multiple women, and I mean, he was in a, polyamorous relationship, and that kind of worked out great for him. So might work out great for you. And, you don't follow the church, which only the church bans polyamorous relationships, and, you don't follow that, and Sylphie doesn't really follow it either. So, I mean, you're going to be fine. Which is red flag number one. Because instead of being like, hey, you need to own up to your mistakes and, like, own up to the things that happen, like, and just be like, hey, this is what happened. We got to set boundaries. It was essentially like, well, Roxy's in love with you too, so, like, you should acknowledge that. And he's like, you're right, I should. And how should I resolve that? By getting on my hands and knees and asking my wife to accept a second wife. I hate that aspect of the show so much. And it frustrates me to no end. Because who are you, right? Who are you to say to your wife that I'm going to be committed and loyal to you for the rest of my life? I don't need anyone else. You're everything I need. Like all of the cliche things, right? Who are you to say that? And then the first time you go out on this big expedition when you're supposed to be looking for your mom and trying to reunite with your dad and bring everybody home to this big happy family where your two sisters are waiting for you to come back, that the first thing you come back and you do is you say, hey, 1, my arm is missing. 2, my dad is dead. 3, my mom has amnesia. And 4, hey, wife, I slept with this girl. Now, I wasn't in a good headspace. And I apologize that I was, I said I was going to be, I was going to be faithful, going to be honest and all that stuff with you. And we did engage in explicit relationships, and like, that's really bad. However, can we add her to the marriage? Who are you to show up and ask your wife to expand your marriage because you can't keep it in your pants? I hate that aspect of the show so much because it talks about character development for Rudius, right? And he never overcomes this bad habit. And it's not even like, as a Christian, that's how I feel about it. But even outside of that, from a character development standpoint, strictly objectively speaking, his biggest vice, his biggest issue was being a pervert, right? And being this like little sexual deviant who was into everyone. And for the first season of the show, he talks about how much he hates his dad and how much he hates Paul because of the polygamy stuff and how it almost tore their family apart. So then for him to come and do the exact same thing and propose the exact same thing that his dad did and have no repercussions for it because Sylphie is just like, oh, it's fine. That's just how Rudius is. I figured it would happen one day. No, you got to hold him responsible. You got to hold him accountable for that. He said, I'm not going to do it. And then he did. And you got to hold him accountable for that. You don't just say, that's just how he is, If somebody's an alcoholic, you don't whenever they slip up, you just be like, that's how he is. Man, it is what it... No, you hold them accountable for their bad decision. And you're right. His sister sure did. The way Norn chewed him out for that was so real. She was so right on that. Because it affected her life, too. Yes, what's her name? Aisha, I think is her name. That I understand where Norn was coming from, and I hate Rudius for what he did, and I know it doesn't stop there either, because I've gotten spoiled on where the light novel goes from here, and it's just hard because Mushoku Tensei it legitimately could be, and I think up until this point was probably the best isekai out there. And all right, hold on. Chat, you want me to spoil it for you? Okay, I'm gonna when I say it doesn't end there, I'm gonna spoil it. So if you're not if you don't want spoilers, I'll give you a peace sign when I'm done, so you can just mute it, and then we'll come back. So when I say it doesn't end there, What I mean is, what I mean is, I don't know if this is going to be in season 3. I don't know the context of how this happens. Like, I don't know the full I just know that it happens. Is somewhere down the line, right? He brings in Roxy to the marriage, and she was very intent on like, oh, I don't want to like be officially married until we I don't want to be officially married until like Sylphie gives birth. So then they do that, and then when they after that, at some point in the future, Eris gets added. So by the end of the series, he has 3 wives. He has Sylphie, Roxy, and Eris. And I just think it's stupid. I think it's dumb. I don't think it's something that should have happened, because I also feel like it erases the character arcs of the other people involved. Like, Sylphie's big character arc in season 2 was wanting to, like, being more firm and being more, I want this, so I'm going to take it type, instead of just letting people walk all over her. So then when this big moment comes up, it's kind of like it's a pivotal moment for her character arc of, is she just going to let people walk all over her and give him exactly what he wants? Or is she going to stand up and be like, no, he's my husband. I can forgive you in a sense, and like I won't hold it against you, but I still don't like that you did it. So, and what does she do? She kind of just is like, well, it's whatever. Like, welcome to the family. I don't want to invalidate your feelings. Like, oh, so sad, boo freaking who. But that's just kind of how life is. That's how life works out sometimes, is, you know, your ideal person is taken by someone else. Like if somebody walked up to me, like at church, right? If somebody walked up to me and was like, hey, I've been crushing on you this whole time at church. Like, and really like tries to get me alone. First of all, I'm going to do my best not to get in that situation, because that's a bad situation for you to be in. Second of all, it's very like, if someone says, oh, I'm in love with you, I'm like, okay, well, okay, but I have a girlfriend. Like, I can't do anything with that. Like, there's nothing we can do, because I'm already taken by someone else. And I'm not just going to like go up to my girlfriend and be like, hey, can we bring in this other person? No, because that's not how relationships work. So at a certain point, you have to acknowledge that, oh, well, want, like, I was a little too late. So I don't know. Mushoku Tensei is definitely a show that I did in fact watch this year, and I did a whole video on it that kind of just recaps essentially everything I just talked about. But because of those last 2 episodes, it would go in high A, right? Because of those last 2 episodes, I'm nuking it down to low B, because I do think some of the other stuff in that season is really good, especially the first half where they're like trying to find their house and like put their family together and like that kind of stuff. I think it's great. So I'm in love with you. Okay, cope, bro. Sorry, bro. Lobby's full. I'm only running duos, not trios, man. Yeah, that's real. All right. Next one I don't have much to say about. It's The Witch and the Beast. I watched 2 episodes and I dropped it because I got bored and I didn't like it. So that's D. A little sleeper hit that I haven't seen anybody talk about is Mecha Ude, which is like this cool little show that I feel like went super under the radar, and I've seen like a collective 1 person talk about it, and it's me. I'm about halfway through season 1. We're getting to a lot of the shows that I haven't finished yet, to end it out. But Mecha Ude, I think, is going to slide in a pretty solid, at least right now, upper B. It's really fun. The whole premise is like there's these mechanical arms that attach to people, and they're kind of like companions. They're like stands from JoJo, but you can see them all the time. And they have a mind of their own, and they can talk and like a whole thing. And it's really fun. And it's a cool world. And I like the power system that they've set up with the Mecha Ude arms is what they're called. And I think the main character is fun. So, can we get a copy of this list? Because I've forgotten which show is most of the thumbnails. What do you mean by that? Like, I'm probably going to post the list on Instagram tomorrow. Because I need to focus on my other social medias and start building them up. I have a ton of stuff going on Instagram this week. Because I can schedule all of it. So what I've started doing is every time I schedule a short on YouTube, I'll go to the Meta Business Suite and I'll schedule it on YouTube or on Instagram and Facebook for the same time. It literally takes me like 5 extra minutes. And now I'm consistently posting on multiple platforms. I tried doing TikTok, but the 3 things I've posted on TikTok haven't gotten any traction whatsoever. Like 0. And now when I'm trying to schedule stuff, it just doesn't work. Like, it doesn't schedule, it doesn't upload, it doesn't post. Like, I technically posted one today of a clip that I edited today as a YouTube short, and it just didn't post. So, I mean, TikTok was always a throwaway thing. I scheduled a bunch of stuff for like a month, and I was like, if it goes somewhere, great. If not, I'm never going to use it. Like, plus, it might be getting banned in the US here anyway in a couple months, or like in a month. So, I'm not, I'm not spilling milk over it. So, yeah, Mecha Ude is really fun. It's got really good action, and the animation is fun. The art style is really interesting, too. It's a very nice art style. I want to finish it. I'll probably finish it this week while I'm still, like, on Christmas break, even though I go back to work tomorrow. Next up is Wisteria Wand and Sword. I'm not entirely finished with it yet, but I'm going to put it next to... Actually, I'm going to put it above Mushoku Tensei. Wisteria Wand and Sword is Black Clover, but it's actually good. Because it's like, oh, everyone can use magic, except for this guy, and he just uses a really big sword. And it's fun. And what's funny is it's by the same author as Don Machi, and I didn't like Don Machi at all. I actually, I don't despise Don Machi, but I dropped it halfway through the first season because I didn't like it. It just didn't interest me. It didn't pick up my interest the way I thought it could. So, yes, I agree. Will is a lot more believable than a protagonist. Or believable as a protagonist than Asta. At least, I've watched the same amount of Wisteria as I have Black Clover, and I like Wisteria a lot more than I do Black Clover. I'm six episodes into both. Wisteria and Mashal are the same show if you think about it. Yes, actually, when I did my YouTube short recommending Wisteria, that is a joke that I made, because it's a guy can't use magic, so he uses muscles instead. And somehow beats everyone. Wisteria is also goated because Yuki Hayashi is doing the music. So it's got like the same musical vibes as My Hero, and I love it. So it's one I'm watching with my church friends, and we've kind of gotten behind, so we need to finish it. But I am enjoying it thus far, and I'll probably do a video on it at some point. Don't worry, guys. Here's the thing. I'll give you a little spoiler. Working on a video for next year where I go back and I watch Black Clover, and I do a video and I say I gave Black Clover an honest go. A third honest try. And we'll see how it goes. So, for those of you in chat who have seen Black Clover, how many episodes in do you think I need to get before I could definitively say if I like the show or not? Because I know it's a long show. It's like, what, 160-something episodes? How far into, like, do they break it up by arcs? How do they do that? Black Clover, there it is. 170 episodes, that's it? Okay, so List of story arcs. Here we go. Yeah, what story arc do I need to stop at? Or what episode do I need to get to be like, oh, when can I make a video and definitively say, oh, I like it or I don't? 15 episodes, 20 to 24. Yeah, I know it's not over, but the manga's slowed down and the anime like still hasn't been announced that it's coming back yet, I think. I just know that every time My Hero gets something, the Black Clover fans start crying and coping because their series is like kind of on hiatus at the moment. And I get that. I understand that. So 20 to 24, okay. I can commit to like 25 episodes, like the equivalent of one season. Which, where would that put me? I'm looking at the story arcs on the wiki page. What, 25 episodes would get me the 19, 27. Okay, so if I stopped after the Royal Capital Assault arc, I would be at 27 episodes. So for those who've seen it, Royal Capital Assault arc, is that a big deal? I don't know. I've never seen it. After watching the whole thing is the only honest way to judge. Well, I'm not trying to judge the entire thing. I'm just trying to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I gave it a fair shot. Am I going to keep watching it, or is this I just couldn't get into it? Like, that's where I'm trying to get to with Black Clover. I'll give Black Clover fans this. At least they give you a better answer than One Piece fans for how much you need to watch for it to get good. Yeah, I feel like as someone who's watched One Piece, like I finished Alabasta, I need to finish Sky Island so I can start scripting the next video. I think with One Piece, I knew I wanted to keep watching it after East Blue. Like, if you get through that first saga, you kind of know if you're going to like it or not. And you know at that point, like, if you're like, do I want to start the next one? Or am I kind of like, I'm going to tap out? So, whereas One Piece fans will be like, watch the whole thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay. No, that's not right. So, yeah. Black Clover, I'll probably do a video on Black Clover. If it's really only like 27, 28 episodes, that's an easy binge. That's an easy binge to then be like, well, here's my full thoughts on Black Clover, at least what I've watched. So maybe I'll look into that. Now, for now, let's finish this tier list. We got 5 left. Tower of God Season 2. Ooh. High C. Tower of God Season 2 is good. I think the first half is a little bit rougher than the second. Mainly because I think Tower of God made an interesting choice in completely swapping the cast in Season 2. And I think that was an interesting choice. But I also really only started getting invested in the second half when they brought back all of the characters that I know. Especially with like, oh, Bomb is this completely different person. And not everybody knows that it's Bomb because everyone thinks Bomb is dead. So, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'm also watching it with my church friends, so that also plays into it too, of like we have that shared community of like, oh, I love Tower of God, like we're all watching it and discussing it together. I might pick up the webtoon when Season 2 is over because I really like the story, but I cannot stand the art style of the webtoon. Like, I just can't. I've looked at it a couple times and I'm like, this is, ooh, it certainly is something. Like, have you guys seen them? Hold on, let me look this up real quick. Let me Google this, right? And I'll put it on screen. Cause I don't think you guys understand what I'm saying when I say the art style is odd, right? Like, hold on. So if I slide this over here, oh, it won't let me because I'm full screen. Dang it. Okay, hold on. Do that. Okay. So look at this. Like, this is the anime art style, right? And granted, this is the art style for the first season, which I think the first season art style looks significantly better than the second. Like, I love this art style for Tower of God because it looks different. It looks like a webtoon. It looks interesting. And then they pivot to this for like season 2, and it just looks like every other anime I've ever seen. But granted, everything is an improvement over the webtoon art style. But that's just me. Maybe it gets better as time goes on. And I don't know. Because, like, that looks fine. So maybe, I don't know. But then you get stuff like this. And I'm like, all right, some of it looks a little jank. Maybe it gets better. I don't know. That's just me, though. So, I don't know. I really hope this season of Tower doesn't get it canceled, because it is a really good story. I love the story, but I think the animation itself is a little dookie. It's a little ooh. So I'm hoping, unless like maybe the studio just gets more time, or they get a bigger budget, or they just give it to a different studio. I don't know what they have to do, but sure would be nice if they did something. So, Blue Box, high A. I'll say better than Demon Slayer. I really love Blue Box. I'm watching it with... Okay, so, guys, let me be real. I'm a little behind on Blue Box because at the start of the fall season, I went to my girlfriend and I was like, hey, we should pick a fall anime to watch together. And, like, great relationship, like, bonding thing. Like, we sit down and watch this show together. Right? And which is a great idea in theory, in concept. But when life gets busy and thus disrupts the normal schedule of like, oh, we're going to sit down every Thursday and watch the new episode of Blue Box, now we are behind. So we're trying to get caught up. But Blue Box is really good. I enjoy it. I read the first 3 volumes of the manga. And I think it's great. It's a romance. I don't like sports anime or sports manga, and Blue Box was able to draw me in with the romance and get me to stay for the sports, and I will forever appreciate that, because now I'm like, okay, now I kind of want to like try other sports anime and see if I like it. So I did get a couple good recommendations in the comments of that video, because I said like, oh, I want to try more sports anime. Give me a recommendation. I almost made a joke about don't give me PNG Lock, because I'm not watching that. But yeah, Blue Box is good. I give it a high A. It's such a gorgeous anime. The way they adapted it and the way they've directed it and animated it, looks incredible. So, John Bass, when do we get to meet the girlfriend anyway? What's even her name? No. And here's what I'll say. I don't say that to like dig at her or anything. She's great. I love her very much, but I have spent a lot of time on Twitter the last year, and even just being on internet spaces, and I've seen a lot of negative attitude and negative energy get thrown at the significant others of people like me, you know, who get on a live stream and say like, oh, Toradora sucks, Toradora is mid, Jujutsu Kaisen sucks, whatever, right? Or like, My Hero is peak. And especially because I'm a Christian content creator, which adds in another level of like controversy to some videos and even like some Twitter posts, the reason I've been very vague and coy about, like, no names, no, like, none of that stuff, even on Twitter, like, I haven't said anything on Twitter about it. I just said, hey, I have a girlfriend now, and that's about it, is because at the core of everything, I want to protect her and not risk anyone going after her because of something I said. So, and that's just in case, like you said, if I piss off an anime fan base, right? I don't want them going and, like, blowing up her phone and attacking her over something I said. Like, because when I get on the internet, right, this is what I sign up for as a content creator, as someone who's on Twitter doing live streams and that kind of stuff. That's what I sign up for. I fully accept the responsibility that I may say something on here that's going to make someone mad. And if someone wants to yell at me on Twitter because they think I'm the homophobic, racist bigot, whatever, that's cool. That's what I signed up for. I understand that was a side effect of what could happen being on the internet in this capacity. She did not sign up for that. That is not something she signed up for, especially not coming into our relationship. So that's why I've been very, like, vague and not, like, giving a name or anything, because I don't want to put her through that. And that's the extent. Because I watched a Twitter couple go through this at the beginning of the year where, like, they were very open and vocal about their relationship, and then people started attacking them over the smallest things that didn't matter, and it really, like, destroyed both of their mental health, and they both ended up getting off Twitter for a while, and I don't even know if they're still together or not, but it was just, like, that was a very eye-opening thing for me of, like, oh, yeah, I don't want to put her through that. Because it is really stupid, and anime fan bases are the worst because they do have too much free time. And I don't want to put her at risk of anything if, you know, that's... I'm also trying to be a lot more cautious with, like, my own personal stuff that I put online, because a couple months ago I had someone, like, dox my work and stuff. And, like, post that out there, even though it was, like, public on my LinkedIn and stuff. But still, the fact that you went through the trouble of searching me up and finding my LinkedIn, like, I've privated so much stuff now because I was like, oh, I didn't realize how much of that was, like, public knowledge and out there. So, especially as I was building the channel and, like, building my Twitter, I was like, okay, we're going to be a lot more careful about what goes on the personal account. So, like, I've been trying to be a lot more cautious about that. So that's just one of the things that I'm like, yeah, not everyone on the internet needs to know everything in my personal life. So, and I mean, hey, there are, like, friends I went to high school with, or, like, friends I went to college with who still don't know I have a girlfriend because they only keep up with me on Instagram, and I haven't posted anything. Because I'm like, it's better to be engaged in your relationship, in, like, be there in the moment instead of just like, oh, I got to take all these pictures and post them on Instagram. And because I've done that before, and that, like, ruined one of my last relationships of over posting and consistently being like, hey, look at me, here's this thing, I'm doing this thing with my girlfriend, and now I'm like, I don't care, y'all don't need to know that. That's for me and her to know that we're watching Blue Box. So yeah, long tangent. That's why I don't like put her on social media or anything. There might be, like, some stuff later down the line that's like, oh, here's a picture of our hands, like, but nothing, like, too crazy. So yeah, that's that about that. All right, 3 more, and then we get to pick anime of the year and season of the year. That was a really long tangent. I didn't think that was going to go that long. All right. Next up is Dandadan. S tier. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Did we think Dandadan was really going anywhere but S tier? Like, dandadan is goated. Science Seiru did an incredible job with the adaptation, and I just they made one of my favorite mangas so much better, and it truly was you can tell that this anime was a labor of love from Science Seiru, and they put so much time and attention and care into it, and the dub is incredible. Everyone in the dub did such a good job, and like it's just such a good adaptation of an already really good show. And there's so much controversy about all of the different scenes, like with Momo, and like the one that popped up last week with the last episode where the guys are getting in the open bath with her, and they're like, oh, this series is showing these pedophiles in here. And I'm like, yes, the point is to show that they're evil dudes. Like, guys, that's the point. Like, with aliens, you can make an exception that they're like, oh, like, it's bad, but they don't know any better because they're aliens from a different planet, like, and they're just doing it for research. But this one was very clearly intended to be, these are bad people. These are evil people who are intentionally getting in a co-ed bath, like a mixed bath that was not marked very well intentionally, so that they can assault this teenage girl. That's absolutely what it is. And it's like nothing but pure evil. But the average Twitter brain cannot comprehend something being pure evil, because there has to be nuance in everything. Like, and sometimes there is nuance in everything, but this is not one of those cases. You know what I mean? So, dandadan is good. S tier. Very strong contender for anime of the year. What's the super chat amount for a wedding invite? $500. That's the starting bid. Also, this is going to be a precedent for every stream going forward, because I just want to get this out there. If we ever, by some stretch of the imagination, ever hit $1,000 in one stream, right? One stream, $1,000 in super chats, I will buy and do a hot chip challenge. Which, for those who don't know, I'm terrible with spice, and it might actually kill me. Not literally, like I'd be fine, but it would be painful. And I'm talking like whole chip, like in the mouth, all at once. So $1,000 in one stream can't be one super chat, because YouTube limits you to 500. But that is just a thing that I came up with. I was like, ooh, if I'm gonna have to do something like that, it's got to be a really high bar. Like, it's got to be real up there. So just keep that in mind as we go into 2025. But that, I just want to put that out there. How much for a +1? $250. Because a +1 is half of a normal ticket, right? Listen, man, weddings aren't cheap nowadays. Like, even though her family would probably pay for a lot of it, I don't want to assume. And weddings aren't cheap. So I also have to listen, if I'm getting married, like, that's time I got to take out of making content. Like, I can't be slacking. So how much for eating a bowl full of the hot one? Not the hot one. The hot chip? I don't know. How many chips are in a bowl? This is a good question. I'm going to Google this really quick. How many chips in a bowl? On average. 50 to 100 chips. Okay. So how much for a bowl full? 50 to $100,000, because each chip is worth about $1,000. Now, if I do it and I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad, I'll probably drop it down to like 500. And, I'll think about it. I'll think about making it a progressive thing, because 1,001 stream is a lot. Now that I'm thinking about like saying it out loud, maybe I'll make it a progressive stream of like, we'll build up to it and I'll keep a tracker on my phone. And when we hit $1,000, then I'll get the hot chip and do it on the next stream. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, what do I want for a wedding gift? Well, money would be nice. It's not cheap. It is not cheap to live. As someone who be married 10 years, wow, John, that's incredible. Do not spend a bunch on a wedding. It ain't worth it. See, that's what I'm saying. I've had this conversation with her of like, expensive weddings are kind of pointless, because you're going to spend all this money on all this food and this venue and all this music and all this stuff for one really good day, right? My mom has done that when she got married. Jackson's doing that for his wedding. I know people at church who have done that, and like, it works for some people. Some people, that's what they want. But in my humble opinion, I don't feel like I need all that. I would be totally cool with like getting a small venue. And by small venue, I mean, like, there's one in town that we just did a party at that was really small. I mean, we still fit like 40 people in there, and it was like comfortable. It wasn't like crowded, but I really think a wedding reception should just be you get your closest friends together. None of this like, oh, I'm getting married, so I need to invite like all of my high school friends, because we were friends in high school. Like, no. Like, you invite your closest group of like 20 people on each side, like, not necessarily including family, but like your 20 closest people on each side, bring them all in, one really big reception, and you just cater some, food, whatever you guys want to cater, get a DJ. Very simple, very low key. Probably doesn't need to be over like $5,000 for all of that. And if you want to save on catering, you could do potluck style and have everyone bring something. Like, there's ways to do it that aren't super expensive, and I don't feel like I need that. And I've talked to her about it, and she doesn't feel that way either. So we'd probably end up having a really small wedding. Because I'm also the kind of guy who's like, let's just go down to the courthouse, sign all the stuff, get the pastor to sign it. You could do like a really short ceremony in the venue at the reception, and then just go into the reception and call it a day. But I do think most of the money spent on a wedding should be turned into, oh, this is honeymoon money, or this is down payment on a house, down payment on a car, paying off debt, like that kind of stuff that's going to set you up for life, right? Like, set you up for life. And yeah, I understand that aspect of like, you barely remember any of it. My mom barely remembers any of her wedding day, because it was just such a crazy day, like back and forth. And like it's like, why would you spend all that money if you're barely going to remember it and you're going to have to look at pictures and videos for the rest of your life anyway? So that's just how I feel about it. And it's nice to be with someone who also thinks that way, because it makes life a lot less stressful. So that, my parents spent over $30,000 on their wedding, and they said it was a waste of money. Yeah, that's... A friend of mine got both the wedding and legal papers done at the same time. Yeah. That's... Ideally, that's what I would do, is be like, all right, it's Friday morning. We're going to go down, get all the stuff signed, take it to the pastor, get it signed, like do the whole shebang, and then go to the reception that night. And then everybody's like chill for a Friday night. And then bada bing, bada boom. You're done. We can move on and go to the honeymoon. Because like, really, that's all you care about at a wedding is the reception. And you want all your friends and family to be there. And you want really your only closest people to be there. Like people who are there who genuinely care about you and want your best interests in mind and like genuinely care about you. Those are the people you want at your wedding, not a bunch of superfluous family members and friends who, you know, like I said, friends from high school who you feel like you have to invite them because they have to be there because we were buddies in high school. Like, no, you guys can see the pictures on Instagram. because we haven't talked in 4 years. So you don't get to come to my wedding because that's another mouth I have to feed. That's not expensive. I'm sorry, that is very expensive. It's not cheap. That's what I meant. Duh. Anyway. All right. Continuing on. Hold on. I gotta switch real quick. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Before I do the last two, I'm going to send us to be right back because I need to swap out my camera battery before it dies. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was real quick. Did anybody get thrown into an ad? Because I hit the little button that said insert ad, and I'm curious if anybody got thrown into an ad. So, while Nick is gone, what do y'all think is the best honeymoon location? Listen, man. Japan would be pretty dope. But I also feel like in going to Japan, I need like 2 weeks at bare minimum to do anything that I actually want to do in Japan. So I would need a lot more time. But I've heard, yeah, cruises are fun. My mom went to Hawaii for her honeymoon, which was really I don't know why I was going to say that was really fun because I didn't get to go. I got sent back home. I in fact did not get to go to Hawaii with my mom on her honeymoon because I wasn't invited. So I personally, my go-to for a honeymoon would probably be some kind of cruise because it's very like, once you're on the boat, it's very low pressure. Like, everything is taken care of. You don't have to, like, worry about checking into your hotel, going anywhere, travel, like, da-da-da. Like, it's all included. Your food, your whole shebang. You can just chill in your hotel room if you want. I guess it's called a cabin on a cruise. You can chill in your cabin. You can do excursions if you want, or you can just go to the islands and walk around. Like, I think that's really fun. I'm very excited. I'm going on an Alaskan cruise next year. I've never been to that section of the U.S. ever. Like that very far northwest, like Alaska, Washington, because that's where the cruise is leaving from, and never been there. So I'm very excited to go up there and see what that's all about. You know what, TC, you're right. It is called a stateroom. Thank you. That is correct. So I'm very excited. I haven't been on a cruise in 10 years. I think. I haven't been on a cruise since 2014. So it's been a while. But I'm very excited about this one. Not obviously that's not my honeymoon. That's a family trip. But y'all know when I'm getting married and going on my honeymoon, because I'll be like, hey, the videos are going to be really like planned out and there will be no streams for like 3 weeks. So you'll know. And there'll be I'll do like some stupid video like, oh, this is my last, because also getting married implies that I'm moving out because I currently live at home with my family because it's expensive. So that would imply that I'm moving out, which I would love to do some big video of like tearing down all my stuff here and moving it to like an apartment or a house or whatever. Yes, Jam is correct. There will be signs. You will know. Like, things will start disappearing from my background, and the videos will feel like they're recorded months in advance because they will be. And there will be no live streams, and every time I stream, like, this shelf behind me will be empty or missing entirely, and all my stuff will be off the wall. Like, it'll be a very bare bones setup. So will I do a honeymoon vlog? No. Well, okay, I might, but if I did, it would be for personal reasons. Like, oh, I want to document this because I have a lot of trips I did a lot of Disney trips in high school, and I went back and I watched some of them today, because I did a lot of vlogs for them, and it was fun. Like, I did one with my high school friends when we all went to Disney, and like, they're really fun to look back on, but I don't necessarily need, I don't necessarily need to like post those. Those are just for personal use. Bro's gonna do like a Naruto or DBC retrospective, spanning 15 episodes, going arc per arc. Hey, I wouldn't be opposed to doing if I did like 4 One Piece videos back to back. That's the hack. Is I've reached a point where like One Piece videos are not guaranteed, because I wanna have 3 do well before I say they're guaranteed. But One Piece videos have a higher likelihood of doing well because the first one has almost 60,000 views, and over time, if I leave it sit long enough, it might hit 100,000. That would be great. That would be my first ever monetized video to hit 100,000 views ever across all of the things I've done. But And it also gets a boost every time I put out a subsequent part, because everyone will go back. Like, everyone will see the Alabasta video and be like, oh, hold on. Go back to the East Blue and then work your way down. But One Piece videos are now as much as I want to do them, like, I do enjoy doing them, and I'm not just doing it for the ad rev. It is very much a pay the bills type content now, where it's like, okay, I can pair One Piece videos in a month with a little bit more experimental video, and if that video doesn't do super well, it's okay, because One Piece is coming right after it. So it's a nice way to balance out, and also scheduling them that way gets me more consistent in in watching One Piece, because it like the next one's already on the calendar, which means, oh, I need to finish Sky Island so that I can start scripting the next video. So, well, not like a show everyone how Japan was kind of vlog. I mean, I might, just because that is kind of relevant to the channel, and like document my experience of what it was like going to Japan for the first time, as someone who has never traveled outside the United States, by the way, which is going to change next year, because I will be going to Canada next year, technically, because our Alaskan cruise is stopping in Vancouver, I think. So, I can get off there. I need to get my passport. I had to fill out my passport stuff a couple weeks ago because I don't have a passport because I haven't needed it. So, I'll be going to Canada next year because I can get off the cruise there and go walk around. I don't know what I'm gonna look at. Maple trees or something. I don't know what's in Canada. They're kind of like the attic we haven't cleaned out yet. We need to. I know the Mr. President said something about we're gonna take them over, which I'm not entirely opposed to, but I don't know. Do we really need Canadians? I think they need us more than we need them. So, anyway, I would consider doing a Japan vlog if I went to Japan. I don't know if I'd do it on my honeymoon, though. I feel like going on your honeymoon should be, like, not stressful. And I'm not saying going to Japan would be stressful. But as someone who's never traveled outside of the States, especially to a foreign language country, like, I know they speak a lot of English in Japan, but it's not the same as, like, going to the UK or going to Europe or other places, or like Canada, you know, where they speak English as their main language. So I don't know if that would be the best environment for me on a honeymoon. I feel like it would be better to go somewhere that we're both comfortable with, just because then the honeymoon doesn't end up being stressful. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. My ideal honeymoon would be going to Disney, man. Especially, my mom said she'd pay for it. And I was like, you know what? That's real. Thanks, Mom. I can't afford that. So, I mean, if my mom's going to pay for it, then I'm like, all right, we're going to Disney. Because fun fact, my girlfriend's never been to Disney. So I was like, all right, we got to go. At least once. At least once. I know Disney's kind of like wokey, right? And they're kind of lame. And the parks are kind of on a downhill spiral. But we got to go at least once. So it is what it is. All right. That like 20-minute tangent over. Let's finish the tier list. All right. Spice and Wolf. I watched the first 8 episodes. I'll give it high C for now. I don't know enough about it to say I don't know enough about it to put it any higher. But it's good. I'm enjoying it. I need to finish it. All right. Look Back. I saw someone, was it Anakin in chat, who said he better say nice things about Look Back? I will say nice things about Look Back. I really enjoy Look Back. I would give it A. Probably like up here. It was a nice little like short film. Not even a short film. It's a feature film, but barely. About these 2 girls who are just trying to be manga artists together, and it's wholesome in the sense of they have to find this creative community, right? Like the community in being creative. And that's something I found like on YouTube, like just having that community of content creators that you can, you know, bounce ideas off of, or like just get to know them and talk about all these things and like have that creative community. And then also working together and leaning into the strengths that you have. Like what's her name? Fujino, the main girl, is like, she's really good at drawing characters and the quippy dialogue. But then the other girl is really good at backgrounds. But independently, they're like pretty all right. But then when they come together, you have this manga that has really good characters and really quippy, writing and these incredible backgrounds. So like the collaboration aspect of it too. And then I really liked the towards the end of the movie, they brought up this question of like, why do you draw? And that got really introspective for me of like, okay, let me apply that to why do I make content? And it gets very like, oh, well, I make content to glorify God, because that was like, it's the talents I was given and that's what I want to use it for. So, and then also because it's fun and I enjoy making content. So Look Back also almost made me cry because some stuff at the end that I don't want to spoil, because it's a really big thing that happens, but I don't want to spoil it. But it was very relatable for me and got me very emotional in the theater. So I like Look Back. I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime, like included with Prime. So it's very easy to watch, even though they have ads, and I was dragging them earlier. So that is the tier list. But don't change that dial. We'll be right back on Disney Channel. We got to pick anime of the year and season of the year. So season of the year first, because that's season of the year. Obviously, it's going to My Hero for all of the prior things that I said. It's an incredible show, and they've done an incredible job. And honestly, it'll probably take season of the year next year too, when we get around to December 2025. Don't even make me think about that, because that means that 2026 would be a week away, and I don't want to think about that. Now, anime of the year is hard, because it's really only a contender right now between like dandadan and Frieren. And Frieren is only here because you guys super chatted it all the way up here. So no, it's really just dandadan then, because I said you can't buy your way to anime of the year and putting it up. Okay, so anime of the year really only comes down to, for me personally, dandadan, Kaiju number 8, and Solo Leveling. I think those are the 3 for me this year that I was like Kaiju number 8, it got me to go in the manga. And same for Solo Leveling. And then Dandadan, I already liked it prior to this year. And between those 2, or those 3, Kaiju and Solo are really good, but I gotta give Anime of the Year to Dandadan. Like I said, an incredible adaptation that I think just has absolutely, like, it just exceeded my expectations and excelled in ways that I didn't think it could. And yeah, I love Dandadan. It's good. I can't wait to see what they're cooking up with season 2. And I'm kind of devastated by that cliffhanger, because I thought they were going to go a little further, because there's like another point that might be a little bit better of a ending, but I think for where they ended it, it's fine. So yeah, that's definitely Anime of the Year, at least for me. So chat, I will give you one more tangent if anybody has a tangent you want me to go on before I leave. So here's what I will say. This is my personal like tier list for anime this year. And next year I want to somehow find the time to watch even more. So that the list can get bigger. And as I was doing this and like putting together the video, I was like, I legitimately don't understand how these anime YouTubers watch enough anime to do this full time. Like I legitimately don't understand how they do this. And I have a newfound respect for people like Gigic, where he does this full time and does like Trash Taste too. And I'm like, dang, bro, that's crazy. That's wild. So this is my personal list. And when does the voting open for Crunchyroll's Anime Awards? Because I want to do that again, because that was the first stream I did. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Crunchyroll 2025 Anime Awards. I know they moved it to May. So voting begins April 3rd. So what is the closest Friday to April 3rd? April 3rd is a Thursday. So maybe on April 3rd, we'll go through and do the voting, because I did that last year and it was really fun. To just go through and kind of talk about how whack their things were, how their categories were. And I know they kind of fixed that in like, because a lot of my issues with the Crunchyroll Anime Awards was that their window was so jank. It was like September 30th, 2022 to September 30th, 2023. And it's like such a wacky window of like, well, now you're excluding all of the fall shows until the following year when they're not fresh in anyone's mind. And like nobody was thinking about Spy Family season 1 core 2 in January of 2024, because that was a fall 2022 anime. So I'm glad they changed it this year to now. I think it's for this year specifically, it's October 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2024. But then after that, it'll be January 1st to December 31st of the given year. So I think that's great. That is a very good change, because it was my biggest gripe with it. I do think they need to separate and do season of the year and anime of the year, just because there's so many shows. Like, just think about this tier list alone, right? Dandadan, Free Rent, Solo Leveling, Blue Box, Kaiju number 8, Mission Yozakura Family, Delicious in Dungeon. Like, that's 7 that I think are anime of the year contenders, right? And that's just new anime that started this year. That's not including My Hero Season 7, Oshinoko Season 2, Dangers in My Heart Season 2, like all of the sequel stuff that comes in. So I think they need to separate those categories, and then we would be good on that front. So the last tangent of the night, I'm going to answer your Piercing Heavens question because it is a good one. How do you balance work, watching anime, and content creation? Very carefully. I actually have a really bad work-life balance because I put in 40 hours a week at my job, and then I come home, and whenever I don't have like small group young adults or like a church thing, or on Wednesdays, sometimes I'll go like guest on the Nintendo Byte podcast like I'm doing next Wednesday. And then, I will usually come home on a given night and script, and I'll script and start working on videos at night before dinner, because I get off at like 4 o'clock. I'll eat at 6, so that in between time I'll like start typing up a script, and then from there I will just try to relax the rest of the night. Some nights I'm really bad about doing that. I'll just sit here and work on thumbnails for like hours on end, but some nights I won't. So, and finding the time to watch anime, which I'll go ahead and say this now for the live audience, even though there's a video going out about it in 2 weeks in January. I'm moving, and I kind of soft tested this in December. I'm moving to a bi-weekly schedule next year because the weekly video schedule was really starting to kill me mentally, physically, emotionally. Like all the, like, I didn't have time to watch anime. I didn't have time to chill at night because I was always having to work on a script, and I was so stressed about like, oh, this script isn't done, which means the video's not done, which means it's not to editing, which means it's going to go out late, and like I'm just freaking out and stressing myself out, and it was becoming not fun for a little bit. And it was at that point that I was like, okay, I want to keep this fun. I want to keep doing this more. So I need to find a way to better balance that work life. And so dropping down to bi-weekly videos not only gives me more time to do longer videos because I have more time to script them, but it also gives me more time to watch more anime, because I felt like this year, as I was getting to the end of the year, because I was so busy between work and podcast and YouTube channel, like all of these things that came together, I wasn't having enough time to watch anime, which meant there wasn't anything new for me to talk about, which is why some of the videos towards the end of the year got very like, here's movies I've already seen, here's the fall watch list of shows that I didn't even end up watching half of the shows on my fall watch list because I got so busy. And so, and then I got behind because I had a lot of stuff. Like I got in a car accident earlier this year in October, and that kind of threw everything off because then I had to like do all the insurance stuff and get a new car, and that took a lot of time out. And I got really stressed about that because I felt like my schedule was so rigid that I didn't have time for something like that to pop up and still be comfortable. So bi-weekly is great because it gives me more time to work. I need to script the last video for January and record it, and then I'm done with all my stuff for January, which will probably happen next week. I'm going to script the video tomorrow and then record early next week. So pretty much if everything goes according to plan, all of my stuff for January will be recorded before January 1st, which means I can send it all off, it'll all get edited, and then it can be done. And I can immediately start working on February stuff, and then I can be ahead and have that flexibility of like, okay, well, something came up in January, but that's okay because all of January's videos are already recorded and already done, and I don't have to feel as stressed. I have a lot more wiggle room, and that's what I'm trying to build into my schedule. So, it did kind of push me to talk about more specific stuff, which is something I also want to do next year, is do character analysis or analyses and dive into that and talk about characters. So I'm going to start with My Hero. I have a lot of My Hero videos coming next year. I just want everybody to know that, like right now. Like, full stop. A lot of My Hero videos coming next year because it's the series I feel the most comfortable talking about. So it's a good area for me to start with and be like, okay, let me do a character analysis on Deku or Endeavor or Shigaraki or Toga, like characters that I know very well. So while I'm experimenting and figuring out this new type of content that I've never done before, I can have a more like, I can have a familiar topic while doing an unfamiliar type of video. And then by the time I like actually learn and I know how to do it, then we can jump to Demon Slayer or another show that I don't know as well and like I have to actually do research for. So early 2025 will be the year of MH8. Now, bro, whole year. I'm like trying to figure out how I'm spacing out these My Hero videos because I have like half of them thumbnailed already. And I'm like, dang, bro, I'm ready. And then we got Vigilantes coming out in April, which I want to cover, which works out great because starting in January, the member exclusive streams are manga streams and we're reading through Vigilantes. So, like, start to finish. So, I highly doubt we'll have it finished by the time the anime starts airing. But, on Wednesdays when I'm not doing other things, I think that's going to end up being the member night, is Wednesday. And I'll just block it off on my calendar. So, how would I rate Vigilantes compared to the main story? I don't know. I haven't read it. I've read the first volume, which is like the first 10 chapters. But outside of that, I haven't read it, which is why we're reading it on stream. So I've heard it's really good. I've heard it adds a lot to the My Hero world and the My Hero story. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. I was so excited that the Vigilantes anime got announced, and I will definitely be covering that in April, which is great because every season I want to have like one big show to talk about at least somewhat consistently. And I'm thinking in the winter, it's probably going to be Sakamoto Days. And then spring will be Vigilantes. Summer will probably be Kaiju number 8. Unless there's a new one coming out in the summer that I don't know about. And then fall will be My Hero Season 8. So that's the plan, Stan. And then, of course, I'll still be doing One Piece and a bunch of other videos. I'll go ahead and tell you guys now because you're here and you've been here the whole live stream pretty much. So, and the VOD listeners will get a taste too. The videos for January are, I recorded a video of my thoughts on My Hero Volume 42, a little more specifically that final chapter, the final chapter that Horikoshi dropped, and then the other video is going to be about Mashle, Magic and Muscles, because there's been like one thing that has been nagging me about Mashle the whole time that I really wanted to make a video on, and I didn't know where I was going to put it, so I'm doing it now. So that'll be the other January video, and then February, roughly speaking, is going to be a romance anime video, because it's February, so it's like the month of romance, and then One Piece. So that's what I've got like cooking right now. But we'll see. I'm trying not to plan too far out because I want to have the leeway to be like, oh, Sakamoto Days is really like shocking me right now. So let's slide an extra video in February because I want to talk about Sakamoto Days, right? Just something else. So that's also why I want to be ahead. So if I do like go see a movie or something and I want to do a movie review, I don't have to worry about taking time away from a normal video to do a movie review, because that's kind of what ended up happening with the My Hero Your Next review. It was either I worked on that video or I worked on the other video that was supposed to go out that week, and I was like, okay, so we're gonna shift the schedule around, and the My Hero video is gonna be the normal video on Wednesday. So I want to be able to have the flexibility in my content schedule to say, hey, Sakamoto Days just dropped a really good episode, it's time to script it up and talk about it, and like have a much quicker turnaround too for the newer shows, because I did a video on Kaiju number 8 this year that I think is one of my personal favorites I've done, just because I did like do a little bit more of a deep dive on kaiju and talk about why I like it and fleshed everything out in the video, but then it didn't do super well because I waited until after the season had finished and after the hype had diminished, and it was just a really short turnaround. And the same thing kind of happened with Demon Slayer and the Hashira training arc. Was I waited a little too long to do my Hashira training arc video, and it didn't do as well as I wanted it to, even though it's another one of my favorite videos that I've done. So I want to have a better turnaround and like maybe do a video, like start the video halfway through the season and then have it out by the end, so you're still getting in on that hype train. I really need to sneeze. No, it's gone. Do I need to sneeze or not? Yes, if you're not first, you're last. That is how it works. That's also why I put my recap video or my 2024 anime video out now, because I know the second Gigic puts out his video, mine's gonna and the only reason the non big ones are still going and still doing kind of successfully is because the big channels haven't done their recaps yet. Gigic hasn't done their recap or his recap. Those much bigger anime channel like Mother's Basement, I don't think has done his yet either. So I'm trying to go in this void and get a little early, even though they wait till January because the year's over. You don't have to outrun the death of hype. You just have to outrun Gigic. Yeah, that's pretty accurate actually. I do just need to outrun Gigic. So yeah, that's the plan for next year. I'll have a Mother's Basement did do his video. Okay. I'll have an update video out in January that kind of outlines things a little better than I did tonight. And then those other two videos I talked about. So, but all that being said, this is my tier list for 2024. Thank you everyone who was here. Shout out to John Bass and I sound terrible for not remembering. John Bass and Maximum Effort Max for the $20 in super chats respectively. I do appreciate that a ton. So, and then everyone else who was just here in chat, hanging out, listening to me as I go on these long tangents. Thank you for just sticking around, hanging out. I do want to do more YouTube streams next year because I love interacting with you guys on YouTube live chat, and I think this is the first time I've streamed since I hit 2,000, because I think the last time I streamed I was at 1,500, so I've essentially doubled, and now all these new people are here, so it's super fun to hang out and chat with everyone. But for now, I'm going to bed because I do have to go back to work tomorrow. So, and I know Thursday night isn't a normal stream night, but it sure is a stream night. So thank you to everyone who was here. If I don't see you guys again because I don't do a stream before the new year, have a happy new year. I'll see you all in 2025 or maybe sooner. Until then, go check out the videos. Hold on. Let me see if I can do let me see if YouTube's going to let me do a redirect. Is YouTube going to let me do a redirect out of the stream? Maybe. No. They sure won't. All right. Thanks, YouTube. Everyone go watch stuff on the channel or go to bed. I can't tell you what to do. So I'll see you all later. Peace out.